Brady, amendments in the works for the House GOP plan to replace Obamacare. Even as the White House continues to stress, the bill is just the first of 3 phases. Fox Radio's John Decker is live at the White House.
Despite getting a CBO score, which projects that 24 million people would become uninsured over the next 10 years under the Republican health care plan, White House spokesman Sean Spicer defended the bill, saying GOP lawmakers have a choice, this or Obamacare.
This is the only vehicle that seeks to achieve what people on our side of the aisle have been talking about since 2010. This is it.
Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, a member of the Freedom Caucus, said that he and other conservatives have been working with the White House on changes to the bill that they've dubbed Obamacare Light. Lisa?
Thanks, John. Meantime, on Capitol Hill, also word of talks between the Trump administration and House GOP leaders and talks on possible amendments in the Senate. It may be a bust close to the coast, but the late winter storm pounding parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic lives up to the hype further inland.
Snowfall total is pretty extreme, though, when you go a little bit farther towards the west. Up around the Delaware Water Gap, 30 inches in Damascus. You see Oswego, New York, 2 feet. Same with Norwich. West Milford, New Jersey, 14 inches. So a lot of snow out there. Still some more snow.
Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth says parts of northern New England could get an additional 18 to 24 inches. States of emergency declared in multiple states from Virginia to New England. A combination of snow and sleet making the roads treacherous.
A 16-year-old girl was killed when she hit a tree in New Hampshire this morning. Lost control of her car. The roads remain icy and will for likely days ahead.
Fox's Rick Leventhal in Pennsylvania. More than 200,000 without power from the storm, which is also causing some coastal flooding, and thousands of flights are canceled. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Changes in Washington are not only affecting the nation's economy, but your family's as well. Quicken Loans can show you how to take advantage of a cash-out refinance to pay off credit card debt or invest in home improvements. In fact, you may be able to eliminate private mortgage insurance. No matter what's happening in Washington, it's always a smart move to call us at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Experience the confidence that comes from working with a mortgage partner that has your best interest in mind. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN today or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
U.S. and Iraqi military officials say the end is in sight in the battle for Mosul.
Still, Iraqi troops are dealing with urban combat conditions, with tight streets posing logistical problems for armored vehicles and advancing forces, and some 700,000 civilians still caught in the crossfire. ISIS militants have been using people as human shields as they continue to put up a fight. But Iraqi officials say the estimated 2,000 ISIS fighters in western Mosul are trapped, surrounded, as forces continue to advance. The question now, how much longer will the fight take? In Jerusalem, John Huddy, Fox News.
The company building the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline is asking a federal judge to reject the latest attempt by 2 American Indian tribes to halt the project. Texas-based Energy Transfer Partners arguing in court documents there have been enough delays. They're aiming to finish construction and conduct final testing this week so that oil could start flowing as soon as Monday. An ex-governor says he's having a hard time finding work.
Former North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory signed a bill requiring transgender people to use the public restroom corresponding to the gender on their birth certificates. There have been boycotts and others threatened.
And if you talk to CEOs off the record, they go, heck, I agree with you, Pat, but I couldn't say anything because they're more worried about the bottom line of finance.
He says on a God's World Publications podcast, signing the bathroom bill has cost him to this day.
People are reluctant to hire me because, oh, my gosh, he's a bigot, which is the last thing I am.
He says he's really a libertarian on these issues.
I don't think a city government, a state government, or a federal government should be able to tell the private sector what the new definition of gender is.
McCrory was voted out of office in November. Chris Foster, Fox News.
Falling oil prices weighing down stocks. The Dow down 44 points at the closing bell. Also awaiting tomorrow's Fed decision on interest rates. Crude dropping under $48 a barrel. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, overcast, a low of 15 degrees. Wednesday, sunny, high 31, a low of 17. Warms up a little on Thursday. Mostly sunny, high 44, a low of 34. Over the weekend, we should see 50s, and I see 60s on Monday.
Nice.
Right now, overcast, 26, feels like 15 in Champaign-Urbana.
Coming up next, something that went under the radar on Saturday, what Josh Whitman said that I found really, really eye-raising.
Lord, do you have anything to clarify as far as the women's program is concerned?
You know, I don't. I've had so much going on here these last couple of weeks. I've been traveling a lot. I haven't had an opportunity to complete an assessment with that program. I look forward to doing that here in the coming days, but I haven't had a chance to do that.
When that season ended, the Illini women, where they won 3 Big Ten games.
Yeah.
They won 2 the year before and 2 the year before, right? That hire I thought was going to be great.
I did too.
I mean, given his resume, it's been terrible.
That's one that I don't. The Tim Beckman was horrible. The John Gross, you could argue some points with regards to.
I thought it was going to work.
I did too, but you could argue now that you look back, hindsight, whatever.
The MAC record.
Exactly. Matt Bolant, you cannot sit here and say that you did not think that was going to work.
I mean, I think people across women's college basketball went, whoa.
Right.
Illinois got him.
Illinois, they're lifting and it just has not worked.
Josh Whitman is cleaning house at Illinois. Just 3 days after announcing the dismissal of men's basketball coach John Gross, Josh Whitman has announced the dismissal of Matt Bolant, the women's basketball coach. And this is all cleaning up the mess that Mike Thomas has left behind. Of the 3 major hires that Mike Thomas made within his first year on the job, all 3 have failed at Illinois.
Okay, the news just continues to roll in. It is the Tay and J Show. Lonte, Jeremy Warner. Mike Thomas, you did not do very well, my friend.
And
wow.
He was brought in to clean up kind of the mess that Gunther left, right?
Now I'm thinking Ron Gunther was really good.
Well, he made some great basketball hires.
No, he did. He totally did.
In his time, but yeah, here we go.
Wow.
At some point, an AD in the next, decade needs to get these things right. But
Please.
boy, I mean, you have the Mike Thomas era coming to a close pretty quick. I mean, the only one that he hired, I think, left is Tyra.
Tyra, who looks like she's working.
Yeah, a pretty good softball hire. So, the women's track program, I mean, Mike Turk was elevated to that role.
Yes.
But of the big 3 hires Mike Thomas had, Lon, you have Tim Beckman, 4-20 in the Big Ten. Matt Bolant, 22-62
That's still just
in the Big Ten. John Gross, the best of them all.
Okay, way to go, John.
37-53
Unbelievable.
in the Big Ten. I mean, I was a little shocked when I got the email.
Yeah, I bet.
Because of the timing.
Right.
And we can talk about how that timing, along with the posting of the job for men's basketball, it makes you suspicious. Does Josh Whitman have his guy in men's basketball?
Understood. It's easy to go that direction.
I don't know if he does. There are a lot of things flying around right now about that men's basketball job. And boy, have I mentioned, I love coaching searches.
Oh, yeah.
These are fun.
Oh, aren't they? They give us something to talk about until baseball rolls around.
It is fun on a radio show to speculate and all this, but when you're actually trying to report on it can be very, very difficult. But Matt Bolant, I mean, I'll give Josh Whitman credit for this. Whether it's football, whether it's men's basketball, the revenue sports, or whether it's women's basketball, who I got to admit, not a lot of people would care if Matt Bolant would have been a coach for another year.
Not at all.
But he sets those standards. Yes. We will win for every program. And Matt Bolant was easier to fire, in my opinion, than John Gross.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right? Because, I mean, there was complete failure there. There were 3 different rebuilds. He couldn't keep his own players.
No, he couldn't.
Because of bad culture. And while he was trying to establish it again, it's like, you've had 5 years.
Yeah,
it's like John Gross. I enjoyed Matt, my conversations with Matt. Everyone seems to think he's a great guy.
Sure.
And I'm surprised at his record at 22-62 in the Big Ten, but that is his record.
It's crazy. I mean, and Mike Thomas, didn't he kind of run on the platform of we are here to win Big Ten championships?
Yeah, I mean, because Ron Zook, Jolette Law, and Bruce Weber weren't good enough in the Big Ten.
Nope.
And he said, I want to hire coaches who compete for Big Ten championships. they were all failures.
Absolute failures. And now that you look back at it, you laugh at that. Now you look at Josh Whitman, and who knows, 5 years from now, maybe we could look at the new hires and be like, uh-oh. But, the we will win, I think Josh Whitman at least is sticking to that with regards to understanding that we are not winning, and it's time to make a change. I laughed with you, and this isn't a laughing matter, as it wasn't with John Gross or Tim Beckman. These are obviously people and assistants that are losing jobs, and you hate to hear that for sure. But I told you, it's almost like Josh Whitman has been so busy lately. It's like finally today he had a chance to open up that Illinois women's basketball folder, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's right, he's gone. I mean, it's just one of those where when you look at the records of every one of those Thomas hires, it's easy for the next guy to come in and make a change. And that's what Josh Whitman is doing. Right now, Josh Whitman is earning his pay at the University of Illinois. Now, to allude to something you brought up with regards to, do you start this now if you still have this other search without a search committee? Let's remind everyone that Josh Whitman is doing the basketball hire on his own.
And as far as I know, Josh Whitman's not talking today.
Okay, he's quiet today.
He doesn't want to talk about he's going to be asked all about the men's basketball.
Sure. Yeah, he'd get 2 questions on Matt Bolant and 100 on the search for the men's basketball coach. But yeah, I mean, it's just a situation where it's easy to speculate to say he would not do this yet without understanding that he's already got the other one put to bed. Now, you could easily, and he could easily be sitting there listening saying, are you kidding me? I can easily do this both. But if he's not going to use the search committee for the men, I would assume that's a lot of work for a guy to go out and find a coach, and then all of a sudden, on top of that, you have another thing you've got to do?
Now, you know who did it? Mike Thomas.
Yeah, Mike Thomas did. That's right.
And with Bolant and Gross. I mean, my suspicion is, and this is just a suspicion, this is pure speculation.
Okay.
I would imagine the posting went up yesterday, and he fired Matt Bolant today because he's got a great idea of what he has for basketball. I don't know if it means he's got the guy definitely, but I would imagine he knows this will happen.
Okay. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, just based on reading all of these tea leaves right now, and
I agree.
Based on everything I hear, I would imagine that posting, this move, and given how quickly Josh Whitman has worked in the past,
fair enough.
I think he's probably got a great idea of what he's going to do with men's basketball.
We're probably going to spare you a list of candidates on the women's side because, honestly, I'm not very versed at that.
No.
So
I know Scott Ritchie put out a list of coaches at AtlantahHQ.com.
Well done, Scott.
If you want to go there and look at some of the lists.
My thought is back to the men's program right now, and obviously the women's program. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Illini women's basketball program. I loved it when Teresa Grintz had it rolling.
Think of this. In 5 years at Green Bay.
Oh, my goodness.
He had 148 wins, 19 losses. At Illinois, 61 wins, 94 losses.
It doesn't make any sense.
In the Horizon League, and I know it's the Horizon, but 85-5. That's a 94.4% winning percentage. At Illinois, 26.2% winning percentage.
It makes zero sense.
He made one WNIT in his first year with Gillette Lost players, Charisma Penn, and who's the Godbold?
Adrian Godbold. This is just an absolute epic fail on Mike Thomas's part. An epic fail. Not only did Tim Beckman not win, but he brought shame to your university. And now you've got John Gross and Matt Bolant, both stand-up guys that did not bring that. Although in Matt Bolant's program, you had the issue as well.
You worsened your programs, and all of them had off-the-court issues.
They did. Well, that's a good point.
All brought scandal.
Wow.
Right? Whether it was arrest with basketball.
And we paid Mike Thomas to leave.
$2.5 million.
That's the college game.
Lump sum.
Right. Boy, Mike, here's 2.5. Thanks for being the worst AD in the history of Illinois.
And he lands at Cleveland State.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Cleveland State.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unbelievable.
I mean, Cincinnati fans, I remember saying, like, when Mike Thomas was hired, they're like, good luck.
Wow.
They're like, really? It seemed like he did some good things there.
I honestly, I sit here today on March 14th telling you right now, Jeremy, I could have done a better job than Mike Thomas hiring 3 coaches. At least one of them would have gone 500.
Well, I think Mike Thomas is smarter than me. I think he's smarter than you.
Without a doubt.
But if we went into a room with a coach, I think we could sell that job a heck of a lot better.
Yes, absolutely. And I still to this day wonder what Tim Beckman showed him during an interview process that he sat there and said, "Yep."
I asked him that question when he fired him, and he didn't have an answer. He said, well, I talked to these people, and he listed off, Urban Meyer.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like Urban Meyer's going to slay
Jim
Tim Beckman.
Tressel.
Right.
Like all those guys. And it's like, but when you met with him.
Right.
What sold you that?
I mean,
that's my guy.
That's got to be your gut.
Matt Bolant and John Gross,
yes.
I can see it.
Absolutely.
I can see it.
Absolutely.
I don't get it.
Matt Bolant, I would have hired Matt Bolant.
Absolutely.
If I were Mike Thomas, I would have hired Matt Bolant. I would have looked at that record, met with him one time and said, yep, you're in. Here, how much do you need? Here we go. We're on. John Gross, I would have given a little more thought to. Tim Beckman, no way I would have hired. No way. I would have sat there and said, okay, listen, bud.
I probably would have interviewed him just based on his resume.
Sure.
But for me to go, that's my guy.
Oh,
We're
my
going to win
goodness.
Big Ten titles with that guy.
Wow, this is just unbelievable. Well, listen, a lot of news circulating right now throughout, and it's factual news with regards to Illinois men and women's basketball programs now need a coach. And the Illini men play tonight. They play the NIT, by the way, right here at the State Farm Center. And in case you haven't heard, that game has been moved up 15 minutes to 6 o'clock. So that's going to impede me from getting over there. I'm going to miss like the entire first half. Does anybody care about that?
No. I'm happy because I'll be home a little bit earlier.
I was going to say, you get to get home quicker.
But we will break down this game a little bit.
Yes.
Sean Harrington's on the call for ESPN. It's an ESPN game.
Wow.
It's been a while. I mean, the last time you played on ESPN, you got blown out like 3 times last year.
Oh, my.
Remember?
Was that like Michigan State or something?
Yeah, I know that was one of them.
Okay.
I don't remember if
game.
the Maryland game was pure ESPN or if it was ESPN2.
Okay. Well, you've got the mothership tonight, right?
I mean, all eyes on Illinois Valpo tonight. We'll talk with Sean at 3:30.
Can't wait.
We'll also talk with Stephen Bardo, Big Ten Network, at 4:30 about what he thinks about this job opening. And Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune's done a great job reporting on this search and others. We've had to cover a lot of them.
Yes, we have.
In recent years. So we'll talk with Shannon Ryan at 5:25. And also at 4:05, we'll talk with the guy who's been pretty angry.
Yes, he has been.
Lately.
I don't blame him.
And Illinois State coach Dan Mueller will join us at 4:05.
Can I say this? Here's why I said I don't blame him. I'm not so certain, and I don't follow it enough to understand why Illinois State is not in the NCAA and a team like Kansas State is. Okay, I know that there's arguments either way.
Oh, Kansas State deserves it more.
Sure. But here's the one argument that why I think Dan Mueller should be angry, and so should a lot of mid-major programs, and it's what he tweeted out yesterday. It is this chicken or the egg thing where you want us to play better teams, but no better team will play us. That's difficult. That's difficult if you're Illinois State.
And maybe we can have this conversation with Dan, is I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a chance to make the NCAA tournament regardless. If they would have beaten TCU,
right,
Murray State, San Francisco.
Yeah, they lost games that they should have
No, I
won.
understand. There's no margin for error for them when
Not
that
at all.
happens.
Especially when you see Wichita State go 30-4 and get a 10 seed.
And it is true that it is hard for a team like Illinois State, who's a competitive mid-major,
No doubt,
to get these Power Fives. But when you do get a TCU, you can't blow a lead to them.
Right. You got to beat. You
when
have to win
Murray
games
State,
like that.
And a year that Murray State's not that good,
right,
you got to beat them.
And the frustrating thing is when you get done with a non-conference and you're Illinois State after this year, you look at that and say, it's not going to matter one bit what we do in the Missouri Valley. We have to win 3 games in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part
Absolutely.
for Dan Mueller and a lot of these coaches.
And I would rather see Illinois State than Kansas State.
Sure.
But when I look at Kansas State and who they beat.
Understood.
I think
Understood.
That's a better resume than what Illinois State put together, even though personally I'd like to see Illinois State
without a doubt
more. But, their RPI was good, but their strength of schedule was bad. They had 1 top 100 win, or 2 top 100 wins, 1 in the top 50.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Dan has been able to breathe since Sunday, so we'll be able to get him a little bit more maybe clear-headed than coming out and just – and not that he's going to ever explode on the NCAA like Rich Herron did a few years ago. I can remember that like it was yesterday. All right, we're going to hit the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line again. Matt Bolant fired as the Illini women's coach, and Stu in Champaign. I know a big fan of the Illinois women's basketball program. Stu, what says you, my friend?
I tell you, has it been 5 years, man, since I called you guys and said, you got fantastic.
Right. I think everybody thought that was a fantastic hire.
Yeah. And you ask yourself, and you guys got a million things going on today. I don't want to take a ton of time, but at least I'm semi-relevant. You look at the last 3 hires, okay? You go back to Teresa Grants. I mean, she is, not Gino and she's not Pat Summitt, but she's maybe in the team picture.
Yes.
You bring in her and you fire her. And then you go the hot young assistant route with Jolette. And then she doesn't make it. And then you take the mid-major killer and you bring him in, and he doesn't take it.
Wow.
I'm looking at Scott's list right now, and no disrespect to Scott, but looking at this list, I kind of see some of each. I don't see a Teresa on here, but for a shiny new dime, I would give you these to take the field because I don't think anybody has any idea right now.
Okay.
And no disrespect to Scott.
Not a problem. Hey, Stu, thanks for the call, buddy. As always, we always appreciate it. Listen, I think it's tough to win.
Yeah.
I think Illinois women's basketball is a tough. You've got the issue with Huff and State Farm Center, and I understand. I get it why these coaches want to play at the State Farm Center for recruiting. But then you get the issue, and we talked about this the other day, off the air, you get the issue of you can stuff Huff, like they say, and Teresa Grintz did, and that was a dynamic atmosphere. I can recall covering games there, and Illinois always had the advantage because that place was packed like it is for volleyball and wrestling.
And I don't even know if you can play games there anymore.
No, and that's true. You probably can't.
Because the volleyball court is basically set up just for that. So I don't know if that's possible. I could be wrong there. But it's all about recruiting.
It is.
But they also have a problem. Like, that's a great facility for basketball now, but it's a sterile environment for women's basketball games.
There's no doubt. And anybody that's been to one, which I have, it really is, unfortunately, and especially when you're not putting wins on the board.
One name we didn't bring up that a lot of texters keep bringing up, but I think we did do a disservice by not bringing him up yesterday, Alon, is Tony Bennett.
Ah, yes.
From Virginia.
Virginia coach.
I've heard that name out there.
Okay.
And I haven't thought it's very realistic just because of what he's doing at Virginia, how great they are. But he does just make $2.1 million.
Wow.
And I was told today that the $4 million being thrown out there, Josh, we joked yesterday, mentioned 4.5 and 2.5. I don't think there was, I don't think he was throwing those numbers out there.
No, I agree.
For no reason.
Correct.
So if you have that $4 to $4.5 million and you're Tony Bennett, aren't you listening?
Yes, without a doubt you are. You double your salary, you come to a Big Ten conference. I mean, obviously right now he's in a great conference himself.
And the one thing I would say, and what I've kind of thought, is he won the ACC 2 of the last 4 years.
Unbelievable.
And he finished second last year. This year he finished fifth.
Okay.
But can he keep doing that?
Right.
And will they invest the resources into him that Illinois would? When you're competing with Duke and North Carolina every year, that's very, very difficult. And kudos to him for doing it. But if you're him, I mean, how much would it appeal? I mean, the Wisconsin job probably could have been his if Greg Gard didn't coach that well. And he's from, his dad coached at Wisconsin, obviously. He's from Big Ten territory. I think his style of ball is
Big Ten.
Which it is not the most appealing style of basketball. It's defense, right?
Exactly.
It's Wisconsin basketball.
Exactly.
But it's winning basketball.
Well, I'll take it. If I know 10 years from now I'm doing what Wisconsin's done the last decade, I'd be happy with that. It is interesting that he's taken that style and won in the ACC.
Agreed.
And it is funny, the ACC in basketball is like the Big Ten in football. You flip it, like in the Big Ten in football, you've got Ohio State and Michigan. In ACC country in basketball, you got Duke and North Carolina. You don't have that necessarily those two power teams in basketball in the Big Ten. I know Wisconsin's been really good. I know Michigan State's been really good. Michigan's had their run, but they don't have the dominance that a Michigan and an Ohio State do, like football-wise, kind of like Duke and Carolina do on the basketball court.
Tony Bennett, I'm looking at his KenPom stats. He finishes in the 300s and usually in the bottom 5 in adjusted tempo. So it is the slowest paced basketball in the country. I mean, they were this year and last year the slowest paced teams in the country. But their defenses, here's 2017, first in the country.
Wow.
7th last year. 2nd in 2015. 4th in 2014. 24th in 2013. 5 in 2012. And his Washington State teams, the 3 years he was there, all top 16.
So you can teach defense.
Yes.
It is possible to teach defense.
And his offenses, I'll give him this year, 38th in efficiency, 8th in efficiency last year, 22nd, 27th the year before that. It's just their tempo is slow. They're efficient, but they're slow.
It's kind of like you said with Wisconsin, where Wisconsin uses all of that clock, and they are so patient in getting the right shot every time.
If you have $4 to $5 million to spend per year, you're getting the ear of coaches.
Sure.
And then it's on Whitman to win them over.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting.
That will be.
Going to be very interesting to see if he could sway a guy like that, a guy like Greg Marshall. I don't think Archie Miller he'll be able to sway, but we'll see.
Yep.
A Bryce Drew, who is going to be visiting Mark Smith tonight.
Really?
He's watching Mark Smith tonight at Bloomington Normal.
Okay.
Play against Simeon in the Super Section.
Is D Pipes going to get an interview with Bryce Drew?
I don't know, but he's over there. He's going to be over there. I fell on the sword. I'll cover the NIT.
You're covering the NIT. Why not, right? Derek, you just go. He's earned it. He's done well this year.
If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, that's 217-359-2255. You can call us on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 359-2255. Follow us at Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. Download the WSJK app. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search Tay and J Show. Get the podcast at ESPNCU.com or find us on iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. I see Tyler Knight, Harry Black, and Daniel King in today. I guess that means I got to do an update.
I guess so.
I'll throw it together.
Oh, you don't have one done?
Oh, Andrew wants to do it?
Oh, Andrew's going to do the update. Well, that could be, I don't know, that or he's just waving. We're going to the Illini game tonight. After school, I'm like, run in, put some gear on, get back in the truck. He comes out with a Cleveland Cavaliers hat. I'm like, where's your Illini orange and blue? He's like, well, I wanted to wear Cleveland Cavaliers.
Repping LeBron, man.
He's a punk. It is the Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point with Mike Greenberg and Jalen Rose.
It has been a foregone conclusion, basically for 2 years, that Cleveland was going to be in the finals. Is that still in your mind a foregone conclusion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is a foregone conclusion because you have the best player in the league, LeBron James, who's having a magnificent season, also playing on the best team. And when you have that dynamic, especially in the Eastern Conference, it's almost been a rite of passage for LeBron James to make it to the NBA Finals because he either dismantled or disabled his potential rivals. And now with the emergence of Kyrie Irving, in particular in last year's finals, they're clearly my favorite to win it all, especially now that I see that Kevin Durant has endured an injury.
Hear more from Mike and Mike Monday morning on ESPN Radio.
Remember when a small business needed a landline? Today, landlines are a thing of the past with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. On the road, at the beach, or at home, Grasshopper helps you grow your business. Get all the features of a business phone system and the freedom of a cell phone with our iPhone and Android apps. Features include multiple extensions for your team, calls forwarded to your mobile phones, voicemails transcribed and emailed, and so much more. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
You can't see me because of radio, and I can't see you because I'm totally blind. My blindness doesn't hold me back, but I fight to stay awake during the day because I'm not sleeping through the night. I often struggle to concentrate and just keep up. Sound familiar? You're not alone. But this is not a sleep disorder. It's actually non-24. Learn more about the link between total blindness and your symptoms. Visit learnmore924.com today or call 844-368-2424. Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
If you have nothing to smile about, schedule an appointment today at Angel Smiles Dental Center in Rantoul. Turn your frown upside down and show off those beautiful teeth. We all have unique smiles, and we know what it takes to maintain those smiles. After all, a smile is like a personal signature, whether young or old. Maintaining your beautiful smile has never been easier with a visit to Angel Smiles Dental Center. From fillings, crowns, and root canals to dental implants and braces for kids and adults alike, Angel Smiles Dental Center in Rantoul will serve your entire family for all of your dental needs in all stages of life. Angel Smiles accepts the medical card for most services. For those children 20 and under, they accept a number of insurance plans, and they have an in-house dental plan to help people who have no insurance at all. Angel Smiles Dental Center is waiting to see you. Schedule a visit today at Angel Smiles Dental Center in Rantoul. Visit angelsmilesdentalcenter.com. That's angelsmilesdentalcenter.com or call 892-8868.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda. Let's go! Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go!
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit kellybluebooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
What? Did you slam an update?
I did.
Nice.
3:30, I'm Jeremy Warner. This is your Sports Center update brought to you by First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign. Get what you want out of life. Josh Whitman is cleaning up Mike Thomas's mess just 3 days after firing men's basketball coach John Gross. Whitman announced today the dismissal of women's basketball coach Matt Bolant. Bolant finished his 5 seasons with a 61-94 record overall, 22-62 in Big Ten play. In a statement, Whitman said, "Without question, the program is in a better place today than it was when they arrived. Our expectation for women's basketball, however, matched those that we have for many of our other sports programs to compete at the highest level year in and year out. I'm excited to embrace a future for Illinois women's basketball where we realize the program's full and virtually unlimited potential." A national search for the next head coach will begin immediately. Bolant has 1 year remaining on his contract and will receive the remaining balance of payment due, approximately a $450,000 buyout. Tip time of Illinois basketball's NIT game against Valparaiso has been moved up to 6 p.m. tonight. That'll be on ESPN.
Whoa.
Interim coach Jamal Walker will lead the Illini tonight. Malcolm Hill 33 points away from tying D. Brown for number 3 on the Illini career scoring list. Valparaiso's best player, Alec Peters, though, will be out. He has a stress fracture in his leg. He's an NBA draft prospect.
Okay.
NFL, Eddie Lacy signed with the Seattle Seahawks today.
That's going to work there for some reason.
Yeah?
I just feel like that'll work with Seattle.
Not bad. And the Saints and Patriots reportedly talking about a deal for Super Bowl 49 MVP, or not MVP, but hero, Malcolm Butler. Possibly a second-round pick going back to the Patriots.
You did that in like 5 seconds. It took you longer to read the update than it did to... I did that one time with a Hockey Minute. Remember when we used to do Hockey Minute? You remember?
I remember.
Hey, I want to congratulate Randy Harshbarger. Randy and Patty, they won the Cubs tickets last night to Mesa, Arizona. So they will be going out to Cubs spring training. That is an awesome trip. Congrats to them. Philo residents. So they're excited, and I'm sure excited to get to the warmth of Arizona and watch the Cubbies.
Illinois football didn't have a great week with recruiting.
Oh, yeah, I saw it today.
Devin O'Rourke, who's one of the top prospects in the state, committed to Northwestern over the weekend. Wow. He was between Northwestern and Illinois, had a couple other offers as well. And Northwestern's got 5 commitments already in 2018. Their new facility they're opening up on the lake is ridiculous.
Must be nice.
That's going to help them a lot. But today, I think this is the top kid in state, Luke Ford, tight end out of Carterville, just visited Illinois on Friday, was singing their praises. He told me Illinois was his leader, that they'd kind of set the tone. He goes and visits Arkansas for 2 days, commits today.
Done.
They have a history of tight ends, 2 Mackey Award winners down there. They've won games. Their facilities are great. It's kind of a reminder that Illinois still has a ways to go.
Absolutely.
Their facilities, they need a huge upgrade there.
Yes.
They need to win games. That's probably not going to happen for a while. I think they sold this really well with Luke Ford, but Arkansas is just like, well, we already are there.
Right. We're here, and we've already produced guys that are making money right now in the National Football League. It was interesting. I wanted to kind of follow this recruitment of Luke Ford a little bit.
So did I.
Because
he's so good.
Oh, my goodness. You showed me highlights. That's ridiculous. But I wanted to see not only the fact of what you alluded to, the fact that, Illinois is not quite there yet, but this is a kid that Illinois was going up against Alabama, Arkansas, obviously, who won the battle, and Illinois doesn't go up against those teams very often, especially in Alabama. So I was anxious to see kind of how this played out. A kid from the South, from Southern Illinois. Carterville is right in between Marion and Carbondale, where SIU is located. I actually lived there for a year. It would have been interesting just to see if this kid would have at least push this along to give Lovey a chance, but it sounds
he would
like
have been a monster.
Oh,
recruit.
huge
monster.
Sounds
recruit.
like he liked what he saw here at Illinois, but he liked what he saw a lot better at Arkansas.
Yeah, let's get to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. Talk about tonight's hot NIT action
baby.
at the State Farm Center. He's always brought to you by Chief Bauer Service Experts, joining us today instead of Monday because of the flight yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Won't you come talk some loops with me, Harrington? Won't you come? Won't you come? Harrington! Harrington!
It's like a meme scream.
Harrington! Harrington!
All right, Sean Harrington, ESPN college basketball analyst. That is true because he is on the call tonight at his alma mater as they play Valpo.
Sean, you're getting all these ESPN games now, man. You're getting big time.
How about it? Yeah, big change. You guys hear the news, right? The switch. So I don't know if you got some viewers coming to the game. Got ESPN, and it moved to 6 o'clock instead of 6:15. So anybody that's heading out to the game, make sure you get there early because it is starting earlier today.
Well, Illinois fans just can't wait for NIT action.
I assume there's a line.
But Sean, let's get to the first news before we actually preview this game against Valpo. John Gross is gone. We've talked about what's gone wrong with this thing, but what was your reaction to this, and what was your reaction to Josh Whitman's press conference the other day?
Yeah, it wasn't a real surprise. It was something that obviously we've talked about on the show, and when you look at a head coach in these situations, it can't be based on a couple of weeks. And obviously, Illinois made a great run at the end to make it interesting that they could potentially get into the NCAA tournament. But you have to look at the whole body of work. And when you look at the whole body of work over the last 5 years, it's just not where Illinois needs to be. It's not where the fan base is used to it being. And you don't just listen to the fan base when you do a move like this. It has to be the right move for the program. But there is frustration within the fan base, and it's not just John Gross. It was the last 6 years of Bruce Weber being here as well. So this is going on now 11 years of fans just not being happy and not putting a great product on the floor over that time. And there needs to be a change. There needs to be a drastic change. So obviously, anytime there's breaking news like that, it probably hits hard and it's surprising. I think no matter which way it goes, but a move that had to be made and a big step now of who you hire is going to be key for this program moving forward.
Sean, I know how you feel about this job because you saw this program at its peak. But what do people now in the industry, coaches you talk to, commentators, what do they think of this Illinois job in 2017?
Yeah, it's a very good job, and it's I would say it has dropped a little bit in the last 10 years. And I think 10 years ago, if you ask people, it's probably a top 15 job in the country. Now I would say it's a top 25 job, but it has probably dropped a little bit just with the perception that's happened over the last decade of basketball. But what you have going for yourself is playing in a terrific conference in the Big Ten. You have a state that produces a lot of basketball talent, and I think people sometimes look at that as the city. It's not just the city.
Sure.
There is great basketball in the suburbs. There is great basketball in central Illinois. There is great basketball in southern Illinois. And then you're recruiting, getting kids from the Midwest that have seen Big Ten basketball their whole lives. So there's a very good pool of people that you're taking recruits from. And it's a very, very good fan base. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. When you talk about a fan base, look at the attendance numbers over those 10, 11 years, and look at the team's record. I would put up their attendance record with anybody in the country that has a team comparable to these stats, what they are in conference and what they are overall. It's a terrific fan base. They come, they support the team, and they treat you really, really well if you're winning and playing the right way and doing things the right way. So it's a terrific fan base to be a part of. It's a great conference to be a part of. And then obviously it's an incredible institution. So when you're recruiting kids to come here, you're going to get a great education and a great opportunity after you get through playing basketball. So there's a lot of selling points, and it just needs to be somebody that comes in and has a great vision and sees their vision through and get things going back in the right direction.
And don't forget, of course, the renovation that Josh Whitman alluded to as well, the $170 million to the State Farm Center. All right, Sean Harrington, you can follow him on Twitter at SMHarrington24. I'm going to make you Josh Whitman for a minute, but not to actually say a name. What are some qualities you're looking for that you would like to see in the next Illinois coach? What is the one thing that you think maybe has been missing that you would like to see the new coach come in and be able to do?
Can I get Josh Whitman's paycheck for the next few minutes as well to give you this inside information?
For 1 minute. For 1 minute, I'll give you a paycheck.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, no, it's a coach that needs to be extremely strong-willed, and it is a coach that needs to see a vision through, and maybe not listening to the fan base of who to recruit, maybe not listening to a potential AD that's pushing you to get maybe Chicago players or potentially pushing you to recruit a certain area of the country. You need to believe in your system, and you need to be very strong-willed individual, and Bill Self was that, and I think he was able to really relate well to people in the city. He was able to relate to people in Central Illinois. He was able to relate to people well in Southern Illinois, and there's a reason why he's successful. And I worked for another guy who I thought could have been a terrific coach at Illinois was Rick Majerus, and Rick Majerus did not care what the outsiders thought or said or did, but he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what he was doing was going to be successful, and he played it out. So I think the next head coach needs to be a strong-willed individual that has a vision, that sees success in the way that they want to do it and needs to stay that course and see that vision through. It may not happen next year, but it will happen in the next 2 to 3 years then. And then to have sustained success is building a program with 4-year guys and guys that are going to be in the program for 3 to 4 years, so you don't have any drop-offs after recruiting classes go that could keep continuing to build. And, we've seen programs do that just here in the area. Wisconsin's been doing it for 15 years, and Northwestern is on the right track. You see it right here in the state. Chris Collins had a vision.
No doubt.
They recruited a certain way. They saw the process through, and obviously now they're having a terrific season going to the NCAA.
Good answer.
Sean Harrington, ESPN college basketball analyst on the call for Illini Valpo in the NIT tonight. $4 million is a figure we've heard per year, Sean. Maybe it goes higher than that. Josh Whitman dropped a 4.5 the other day. How much does that speak in the college basketball community? Because, Illinois usually has gone mid-major. Lon Kruger, really the only guy who's come from a Power 5. Right. That kind of figure per year, how much does that speak in that community?
That's huge, and it is, and that's the type of money that you can go get one of these guys that we're talking about. And you said don't throw out names. Well, I threw out one a few days ago. It's a Tony Bennett type guy, and here's a guy that's completely rebuilt 2 programs. Did a terrific job at Washington State. Did a great job at Virginia. Can you lure a guy like that? Well, 4 to 4.5 could lure a guy like that. And is a guy like that tired of going up against Carolina and Duke and not only having to play them, but maybe not getting the respect?
Sure.
You look at Virginia, record-wise, they're the best team in that league over the last 5-6 years, and no one talks about them. So maybe he's looking maybe for some recognition for what he's done for the program. And some guys just like rebuilding programs. They like the challenge. They like to take a program that's struggling and turn it into a power. So that may be intriguing to someone to build that. So that's just one of the names, a guy that I think would fit great in the community and would fit great into the state. But you start talking about luring guys away, you're going to lure someone away from a big program, you have to ante up and you have to spend the money. It shows you're serious about the direction of the program, and it shows that you're going to make it work. And I think within that, you have to have a good pool for your assistants. You got to get the top assistants in the country. Those are the guys doing a lot of the behind the scenes. And, it's really important. Basketball can be turned around real quick. and that's another case where you look at football, it takes several years to turn a football program around because there's so many guys, there's so many moving parts. In basketball, you just need a recruiting class or 2, and things can change very, very quickly and get momentum going in a fast pace in basketball, and the right guy can make that happen.
Sean, you mentioned Tony Bennett. Now, we talked all about a lot of other guys yesterday, and we kind of actually left him out. But today we brought him back up. Introduce me to him a little bit. What could we expect that he would bring
Wisconsin.
to Illinois? Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I'll take it.
Jeremy kind of went through what he does with regards to defense, but introduce us a little bit more to a Tony Bennett and what he would do.
Yeah, he's done a terrific job of evaluating talent, and then not necessarily getting McDonald's All-Americans, but he is finding guys that maybe are under the radar, that he sees something in them that fit his style, fit his system, and he recruits that well. The other thing is developing players. I think that's what gets overlooked maybe the most in college basketball is developing players. If you get McDonald's All-Americans, a lot of those kids have not been taught and are maybe raw coming into college. And if they don't improve, they get passed over by some guys that work and improve and get better in the course of the time that they're there. Not everyone's getting McDonald's All-American, but there's a lot of good basketball players in the country that if you develop them over time, they're going to be great players for your team. And I think that really gets overlooked is developing players over time. Frank Kaminsky averaged less than 5 points a game after his sophomore year. And after his junior year, he was being talked about as a National Player of the Year candidate and then got it his senior year.
Wow.
So you're just talking about there a guy that developed over time. Nobody thought Frank Kaminsky was a program-changing recruit coming out of high school, and he completely changed that program. So developing players over time is extremely important. Finding guys that fit your system, extremely important. Tony Bennett has always been good defensively, and that's what he's known for. So when you are good defensively, you're going to be in ball games. You're going to have a chance to win. And then offensively, people may say it's boring and maybe slow. That's what they were saying about Wisconsin, and it changed. When they started getting the right players, that was an impressive style of basketball to watch, and things can be tweaked. And same thing with Virginia. When it's clicking, they're very, very efficient offensively. And are they super high scoring? No, but they're efficient. And I think teams would take winning in the 60s over losing in the 80s anytime.
Yep.
Sean, we do have a game
done.
tonight. Illinois against Valpo. Valpo without Alec Peters, which obviously should help Illinois. We'll see how healthy Malcolm is. The team says he's fine, but what do you expect? Because usually the NIT, it's about who wants it, who wants to show up and play.
That's exactly. You just hit it right there. The NIT is the toughest to predict because you don't know where teams are mentally, and there's many times where the power team that comes from the power conference does not want to be there. And these young, the small conferences, the Valpos are itching at an opportunity to play against Illinois, to go on the road in an environment that they don't get to play in all the time. And they thrive on that. So very interesting matchup where Valpo's missing their best player, and Alex Peters was terrific. Had 40 points 3 times or more this season. So they're losing a huge part of their game. It's a team that I know is excited to be here. Illinois, you're talking about not only a team that maybe do they have a chance at the NCAA until the last week of the season. So at this point of being out there, you lost your head coach. So you've got a couple layers kind of underlying this team right now. And how do they respond? How do they come out? I was at the shoot-around. It's a loose group right now. They had energy. It talked about just being fun, having an opportunity. This is the last chance you're going to get to play with the seniors and as a group and enjoying the experience. So they're saying and looking like the right things, but until that ball gets tipped, you just don't know how teams are going to come out and respond to this type of situation.
How'd it feel to walk in snow again, Sean? You like it?
I'll be honest, I've gotten very, very soft in the last year and a half, so it is really tough for me to take that deep breath in the cold air right now.
I love it. Sean Harrington, ESPN college basketball analyst. Follow him on Twitter at SMHarrington24. He will be on the call tonight. That's always exciting for Illini fans. Sean, have a great game, buddy. We'll talk to you again soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the week. March Madness is here.
Here we go. Sean Harrington.
We didn't even
Great
ask
stuff.
him about the NCAA tournament.
We have totally avoided that.
Who won the Big Ten tournament? I think it was Sean.
Oh.
Because Michigan won it. I had 4 wins. I didn't get another win.
That's right.
And Sean had what? He had Northwestern and Wisconsin.
Yes.
So I
think he beat you by 1.
Yeah.
I think he beat you by 1. You went on the crazy run with Michigan.
You did not have a very good.
No. I thought I was in great shape. Yeah. And then, Northwestern beat Maryland.
Right.
And that knocked me out.
Yeah.
So I thought I was actually in pretty good shape. But no.
I mean, Michigan was the only team I had that got any wins.
And they ripped off 4 of them. Unbelievable. Maybe you and Sean tied them.
I'll have to look at that.
Which would give you the title if your team won.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be my rule.
Good stuff from Sean.
Great stuff.
I think he's obviously referring to Weber stuff when he talks about recruiting, the pressure to recruit certain guys like Stan Simpson over Lewis Jackson.
Yeah.
Bill Cole over Robbie Hummel.
What's the one thing we don't talk about enough is evaluating talent. I don't think that we do. We talk about recruits and such.
And evaluating recruitability.
Yes. Good call.
Can I get this kid?
Right.
That was John Gross's issue.
That was an issue there. We could talk a little bit about that when we come back. 359-2255. If you'd like to weigh in, the Chief Bauer text line or the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. I like this text. We got watching online. Wish I was always as happy as Lante. I go home and kick dogs, though. I just kick my dogs all over. No, I don't.
It's terrible. Well, your son's giving us messages on his little tablet.
Yeah, and there have been some interesting ones. One of the statements he actually said on air here at the Tay and J Show. So, and P.S. I do not kick dogs. I love my
why
dogs.
Don't we have that as a sound drop?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not anything like swear.
Maybe we'll have him do it again today, and because his mother would absolutely
kill you.
Yes, yes, she would. Or him. We better move on. It's the Tay and J Show.
Everyone remembers this nursery rhyme. Rosati's thought about coming up with a rhyme for their spaghetti special this month, but they decided they didn't need a rhyme because this deal is big enough on its own. Don't miss this great carry-out special at Rosati's Pizza. It's their spaghetti special. Spaghetti, salad, and breadsticks for a family of 4 for just $29.95. Available for carry-out only on Tuesdays from 4 to 9 p.m. No time to cook? Too busy running errands to prepare dinner? Do it family style with Rosati's Pizza, 701 South Gregory, Urbana.
As the leader in fire protection and security systems for industrial, commercial, and residential buildings, Matco features exceptional protection. Matco installs, maintains, and inspects fire sprinklers, alarms, CCTV, security systems, and access-controlled systems. Their vigilance is a must-have priority to protect your assets. Matco's digital monitoring and veteran personnel are your best security investment. Their 24-hour emergency service ensures that you are covered at all times. Contact Matco at matcofire.com.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Duracon from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans, and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Hi, it's Van again from Heel to Toe Shoes in downtown Urbana. Well, yeah, it's that time you've all been waiting for. It's our spring preferred customer sale now through March 18th. Yep, you save on everything, every shoe in the store, all the socks, all the inserts. Come on in, you can save store-wide. We only do it for a short time, so this is your chance. Get a jump on your spring shopping. All the new items are rolling in daily. 10 to 20% off store-wide. Heel to Toe Shoes, 106 West Main, downtown Urbana.
ESPN 93.5 invites you on our annual bus trip to see the St. Louis Cardinals take on the world champion Chicago Cubs Wednesday, April 5th. And it's all brought to you by Rosati's Pizza in Urbana. Buy your bus and right field game day tickets for just $99. Or register to win a set of free tickets at Rosati's Pizza, 701 Gregory in Urbana. It's our annual bus trip to Busch Stadium in St. Louis to see the Cubs take on the Cardinals Wednesday, April 5th. Get information on the trip by calling 367-1195 or at ESPNCU.com today.
When you're heading home, Tay and Jay are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
217-359-2255. 359-2255. If you'd like to weigh in, Cheap Hour text line, Jupiter's the Crossing phone line. It is the Tay and J Show. I thought that was interesting what Sean said about evaluating players, and I think that he alluded to that. I think maybe, I don't know if that was as much of like a John Gross thing of that he wasn't able to evaluate some guys, maybe that he should have, and then what you said is the recruitability.
For me, I think he's got some players on this roster who can play.
Yes.
I just don't know if they can play his system or if he got him to play his system well.
Snyder's
for me, it's more about that and evaluating recruitability.
Yes.
Yeah, Quentin Snyder's the biggest.
Snyder's the outlier because he's a guy that you went after that was a big time guy. Like Cliff Alexander was a big time guy. You went after. You took a lot of time. Yes, he was in your final three. Then he shoved it in your face and ended up going to Kansas. Snyder's the guy that said yes, and then 2 or 3 different things happened where a guy moved from this team to this team to this team, and all of a sudden Louisville's got an opening. That was just terrible luck, if you ask me. So I guess you could see both sides of that Gross went after some of these guys, like a Jawan Evans. Would
Jawan
really
Evans,
have a shot at
Elijah
him?
Thomas.
Yes.
I mean, people I talk to say everyone knew they had no chance.
Okay.
Why didn't the staff?
Yep.
Because they trusted people. And that's great. That's a good trait to have. But in basketball, it can burn you.
Yes, I agree.
And, Glenn Watson wanted Illinois. And, they knew it right away that he was a good Big Ten point guard, and they needed one. And they didn't go get him. Ed Morrow, they didn't go after because they thought LaRon Black, well, we don't need 2 of those.
Right.
I don't know if you get Morrow.
Right.
I don't know how you don't offer and go after. I watched that guy in high school, and I'm like,
oh, my goodness.
I would love to have that kind of guy on my team and in my locker room.
Yep.
It's just, that's the kind of guy that they keep missing on.
I remember thinking he's going to go to Dayton and be unbelievable. And then, of course, he went to Nebraska.
Right.
And the guy was hurt this year, but he can rebound like a fiend. I think he'll lead the league in rebounding before he's done.
I mean, you see all these guys, whether it's McIntosh or Mason or, all these players who turn into very, very good players, great players in the Big Ten. And that's why people get I'm a guy who works at Scout.
Mm-hmm.
We have all these rankings. They're not infallible.
No.
And you need to know if a kid's going to work his butt off to get better.
Yeah.
And that's what Wisconsin always gets. That's what Gonzaga always gets.
Always.
And is it terrible if you're that program?
No.
That's what Virginia gets.
Yes.
And we're talking about, Tony Bennett today. Like, that's what Virginia gets. Yes, they've gotten London Perancis, was a nice recruit, top 100 guy. But they just get those players who fit their scheme. And, that's what you need. You need to not worry about, I got to get a Chicago. I got to get Jalen Tate just so Simeon's happy.
Right, exactly.
I got to get Stan Simpson so Chicago Public League is happy.
You know what would
Go
help
get
that?
Lewis Jackson.
Yes.
Who maybe has a lower ceiling than some of these guys, but he's going to be a good player.
You would have won a lot more games with Lewis Jackson as your point guard. You know what can help that, Jeremy? Identity. Wisconsin has an identity. They know who they want to plug in. Now, Koenig, guys like that, Decker, they were really top recruits.
Who is Bruce's best team? When he had Chester, Trent Dimitri, Mike Davis, and Mike Tisdale.
That fit his style.
I mean, Dimitri was the best recruit of all those guys, but that was 3 point guards who could run that offense.
No doubt.
And a big guy who could stretch the court and a big guy who could rebound.
No doubt.
That's what his teams were about, and then he kind of lost touch with that again. Because everyone's like, you got to get these big guys.
Exactly.
Jeremy Richmond, you got to get him no matter what. Well, he burned you.
And I think Deion Thomas said it yesterday that he really doesn't think John Gross ever had an identity of what he was trying to do. And if a guy like Tony Bennett comes in here, you know the identity. We've made fun of it. We've laughed at it, only to the point because we understand that it's just like Wisconsin.
It's slow.
It would fit
but it's
so well in the Big Ten.
And it works.
It works. And then when you have that identity, you know exactly who to go after.
You know who has identities? Illinois State coach Dan Mueller.
No doubt.
He's got defense, length, athleticism, but it's not going to be in the NCAA tournament, it'll be in the NIT. We'll talk with Illinois State coach Dan Mueller coming up next.
You can find our podcast, by the way, at espncu.com. Somebody just asked that. espncu.com. Dan Mueller's next. It is the Tay and J Show.
It seems like in every home, there's at least one room that's either too hot or too cold. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Mitsubishi Electric has your comfort solution. Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating systems are up to 40% more efficient with no ductwork and whisper quiet. Individual room control, giving you the freedom to find your perfect comfort level and save money too. Make your whole home comfortable again. See Lance Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for your comfort solution and live better.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Lands is your local Mitsubishi Electric Diamond dealer. Our technicians are experts at solving your comfort needs, one room or your whole house. Let us show you how a Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling System can save you money now. Your comfort is our priority. Call Lands today at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company. And if you've thought about replacing those drafty windows and doors, call us right now. Take advantage of 30% off our windows and 30% off our doors. These are the vinyl windows that tilt in for cleaning and never need storm windows. Also, our beautiful Paragon doors come pre-painted and have deadbolt locks built right into them. So if you've thought about replacing your windows and doors, call us to take advantage of 30% off plus 0% financing.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. The White House says you can't compare the House GOP health plan to Obamacare.
The president's goal is to provide health care coverage to every American. And right now, they're not getting that.
Spokesman Sean Spicer rejecting some of the numbers in a Congressional Budget Office report on the plan to replace Obamacare, saying again the bill is only the first phase and leaving the door open to amendments. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
Republicans in both the House and Senate say there are changes expected to the current health care bill.
We're making real good progress with the White House and leadership, and I'm optimistic that we'll see some good results in less than a week.
North Carolina Republican Mark Meadows chairs the House Freedom Caucus, a bloc of conservatives critical of the GOP plan. Other Republicans have signaled concern about the Congressional Budget Office report, forecasting millions losing health insurance. They want additional protections for older Americans. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Canceled flights, coastal flooding, and a lot of snow from a late winter nor'easter.
Over a foot in some places in Pennsylvania, like Bethlehem, up to 2 feet of snow.
Fox's Brian Yennis is in western Massachusetts, which could get more than 2 feet, along with other parts of New England and upstate New York.
The big concern now for tomorrow will be ice as the temperatures begin to fall. Boston schools, for instance, have been canceled because of those freezing temperatures and concerns of ice.
New York City and surrounding areas getting less accumulation, but a treacherous icy mix. Not known yet when regular bus and train service can resume or how long it'll take the airlines to catch up. Some of the more than 6,000 flights canceled are in and out of Chicago, getting hit with snow for a second day. Stocks finish lower ahead of tomorrow's Fed decision. The Dow down 44 points. On the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. If you own a home, there's a good chance its value has gone up. In fact, year over year, housing values nationwide have risen by more than 6%, one of the largest increases this decade. Quicken Loans has smart ways to help you take advantage of your home's rising equity. You could take cash out to consolidate debt, or you could refinance to eliminate private mortgage insurance. No matter what's happening with the housing market, it's always a smart move to call us at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Experience the confidence that comes from working with a mortgage partner that has your best interest in mind. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN today or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Charges just announced against 8 current and former Navy officials, including a rear admiral, in a bribery scandal involving a former Singapore-based defense contractor who's already pleaded guilty. The indictment says he frequently sponsored sex parties for officers on U.S. warships. The Marine Corps Commandant taking responsibility for a nude photo scandal.
Commandant Lieutenant General Robert Neller says female Marines can feel safe coming forward without fear of retribution. Testifying before the Senate Armed Services Committee, General Neller said those involved in posting nude photos of female Marines on a Facebook group called Marines United will be held accountable.
To the men in our Corps serving today and those who no longer wear the uniform, you're still Marines. I need you to ask yourselves, How much more do the females of our Corps have to do to be accepted?
General Neller says he also wants men who have information about the scandal to step up. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Late word that U.S. Defense Chief James Mattis is withdrawing his nominee for Undersecretary of Policy. Ann Patterson citing opposition in Congress over her former role as ambassador to Egypt when the Obama administration supported a government later overthrown that had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Florida's biggest school board may be on the verge of stopping federal agents from searching schools for undocumented students. Fox Radio's Evan Brown.
Miami-Dade County, Florida made headlines weeks ago announcing law enforcement, including jails, would comply with the Trump administration's efforts to incarcerate illegal aliens who are also arrested for local crimes. The decision was met with backlash. The city of Miami vowed not to comply, and now the county's school district today could pass a resolution disallowing agents of immigration and customs enforcement from searching for students on campuses who might be in the U.S. illegally.
2 neighboring areas already adopted that policy. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a furnace expert? Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 15. Wednesday, sunny, high 31, low of 16. Thursday warms up a little bit, sunny, clear, high 43, low of 34. Could get some rain into the night, but it will warm up this weekend.
Got the bar
50s.
crawl this weekend in Philo.
Do you?
The Philo bar crawl.
Go across the street?
Yep. We go from Daly's to the tavern, back to Daly's, back to the tavern.
It's a good bar crawl.
It's one you're not going to lose weight at, I can tell you that.
Tonight, right now, overcast, 27, feels like 16 in Champaign-Urbana.
All right, it is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lante, Jeremy Warner. Get you ready for the big action tonight at the State Farm Center, Illinois and Valparaiso. That game has been moved up, in case you didn't hear. It's been moved up to a 6 o'clock start. ESPN, Sean Harrington, who we had on in the 3 o'clock hour, on the call on ESPN.
But it's time to hit the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. Don't forget, Tuesdays, get half off large pizzas all day at Jupiters at the Crossing. There will be basketball at Redbird Arena on Wednesday night as the Redbirds host UC Irvine in the NIT. And right now we're talking with Illinois State coach Dan Moore. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
My pleasure, fellas.
So when you saw that you guys were not going to be in the field of 68, were you angered, sad? What was the biggest emotion you had, Coach?
Oh, I don't know if I could pick one. I think both of those, upset, a little bit angry, mainly just knowing that I was going to have to see the faces of my players, in particular my seniors, and had already looked at them. I walked out of the locker room when I realized we weren't going to be in, walked back in about 5 minutes later, and, Paris and Tony and Deontay, but really Paris, Tony the most, were just, it's hard. It's hard. And so disappointed. I knew it'd be close. Yeah. It's not like I thought it was a guarantee we'd be in, and it was close, but it was hard.
Did you expect to be in the field, Coach?
I think expect is the wrong word. Yeah. I expected to be either the first or second team out or the first or second last team in. That's what I expected. And then when it came down to that, when you're that close, which is what it ended up being, then it all comes down to the 10 people in that room and what they use to decide the tiebreakers when you have about 4 or 5 different teams that, truly have very similar credentials in different ways. And, you have no idea how to predict how they're going to decide those teams.
So when that happens, Coach, and you feel like you've been jobbed or whatever it is, what do you do next? Who do you contact?
Yeah, and I want to make it clear. I don't think we were jobbed because you're splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah,
you are, and it's not like we had to get it. Look, we're good enough to be in. We, like most teams in that tournament, feel like we could have won games if we would have gotten in. It's more, to me, the disappointment in knowing how they're selecting the tiebreakers, the final teams in, or even seeding, if you look at the seeding. And they're only really looking at one statistic, in my opinion. I've never been told this, but I think it's very clear, and that's quality wins and quality games, not even just wins. Not percentage of wins, just number of quality games you get, and obviously that's a little skewed if that's the stat you look at to make the decision when you have a tie.
And you obviously went out the next day and tweeted out to all the Power 5 conferences, which I loved, Coach, basically saying, hey, we're right here if you want to come play us. Here we are. Is that something that you're glad you did? And in hindsight, I mean, is that something that you feel like you needed to do to kind of get not only for Illinois State, but also you look at Wichita State as a 10 seed. Are you kidding me?
It's a joke.
I mean, it's a joke.
I feel bad for Dayton.
Right, exactly. I do too.
I'm not even joking. Well, two things. Well, a couple things. Number one, who would have thought it was me talking to you right now about this and not Barry Henson?
Right.
You know, he's the comedian of our league. I'm pretty aware of things that I do. I put thought into them. Not that I don't act spontaneously ever, but you know, I knew it would get national attention.
Sure.
So I was not happy, but I was past it. I wasn't angry Monday morning. I was upset still and disappointed, but I was moved on. And so, guys, I woke up early, stayed up late watching film, and was just kind of eating breakfast. Like, I'm gonna tweet this out. So I wrote it. I told my wife what I was going to send out, and she said, no, do not send that out. And I said, why not? I mean, why not? Because people will think you're just complaining. Yeah. And so I tweaked it a little bit. I said, no, it's funny. It's hilarious. Okay, I said, plus, I guarantee you some national media are going to retweet it. So people will see this. So I made a couple changes, got approval, and sent it out. And I knew it would get some national attention. I didn't think it would get this much, but I am glad. And it's not about me. It's about the players, number one. But it's about the process that they're clearly leaning towards the last couple of years. And as I've said, how they're picking tiebreakers. The part that made me the most, I would say mad, but disappointed, guys, is it's not the fact that teams won't play us. I know that, okay? I don't blame them for that. They need to do what's best for them. But when you're in the committee and afterwards, don't come out and say, well, they didn't have enough quality games. Well, no kidding.
Yeah.
Because we can't get them. So just say, we didn't think they're good enough, or go into the tournament and say, hey, look, you got no chance unless you're completely perfect for your season, because you're not going to. Just be honest with the process or change the process. Hopefully they'll change it.
Well, and Coach, I know we even talked to you going into the Valley tournament about the fact you'd lost to Tulsa twice. I mean, there were a couple of games that you guys could have obviously won that would have made a difference, I'm sure. But what is the solution? I mean, I'm going to take you back to like when I was just out of college and SIU won like 28 games one year, and Rich Herron went on and just absolutely slayed the committee because the Salukis didn't make it in. So this thing's been going on for 20-some years in the Missouri Valley and more. What is the solution then if you're not going to be able to round up Power 5 conference teams to play? Is it just the fact that you've got to be either perfect in the non-conference, and then you look at it and say, and if you're not, then you just basically say this Valley season really means nothing, and now we just have to win 3 games in St. Louis? That has to be frustrating to you, and I could sense this is why a guy like Greg Marshall is ready to pull Wichita State out of the Missouri Valley. It's not Missouri Valley's fault, and I'm sure that Doug Elgin is sitting there scared to death about this. This is why, Coach, a guy like you, I could see saying, you know what, Illinois State, this has been fun. This is my alma mater, but I'm ready now to move on to other places where I can win 20 games. I mean, this is frustrating. I'm saying it for you, Coach. I mean, what do you do? Right. What's the solution here?
Well, there's only one solution, and you know, I've been on done more radio shows and interviews in the last 24 hours, so I've said these things, but I've thought about it a lot too. And we're not going to, as I've said, we're not going to all of a sudden have a bunch of Big Ten or SEC teams doing home and homes with Missouri Valley teams. And I don't, as I've said, I don't blame them for that. I don't expect that. Can we get some? Sure. Does Wichita State, are they at the point now where they did a home and home with Seton Hall in Alabama, but they went to a Final Four first.
Right.
Okay. Before that, they weren't getting any of those, but now they're at that level like Gonzaga did. That's hard to do. That's one way you can obviously build it up over time. But truly the only way to change it, guys, is to change the 10 people in that room or change their mindsets. And as I said, when it gets down to the end with tiebreakers and seeding, the only thing they look at, and I'm not telling you this because somebody told me, I'm just telling you this because I'm a relatively intelligent person, and that's not that hard to figure out.
Right.
is quality top 50 and top 100 somewhat, but top 50 wins, not losses. Because one of those Final Four teams in was 2-6 versus the top 50. 2-6. Okay. So it's not about the number of times you lose. Can they beat good teams? That's all they care about. And so one team was 6-8. They had 14 opportunities. Well, we only had 3. It was all against Wichita State.
Right.
So they got to change. They have to change. Again, in the end, I keep saying it, the tiebreakers. They have to change the analytics they use at the end.
Okay.
In order for this to change.
Illinois State coach Dan Mueller, is this stuff with Ole Miss real, Coach? Are you guys going to do it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I texted Andy Kennedy, right, and we're friends. I texted him right after I saw that, and he's on the road. They play Monmouth tonight in the NIT, and he basically said flat out, look, we got to figure out dates.
That's cool.
That's what some people don't understand, and it's okay because they don't do it. But like right now, I only basically have 2 dates left to play in our season next year. We have contracts out for games for most of the year, and so if they don't have those dates available, it will not work. Now, if they're available, yeah, we're going to do it. If not, hopefully we can do it the next year. But I'm hopeful those dates will work out, and we'll head probably down to Oxford, and maybe they'll come back up to normal after that.
Nice.
After this disappointment, Coach, where's your team's head at going into the NIT, where you guys, get to host possibly 3 games here? How's your team feeling right now? How do you expect them to come out on Wednesday night?
I think we're okay, guys. I'm not positive, and I if you ever listen to me during the season, I'm always saying I think I don't ever know because they're 18 to 22 year olds, and heck, the girlfriend might say something to them wrong this afternoon. But we were disappointed. It took some time Sunday night, but I did tell them, listen, if you want to be upset tonight, that's fine. But when we wake up tomorrow morning, which was Monday yesterday, I said we're getting ready to win a game, okay? And if you're in this program, that's how we roll. Okay, that's it. I get it. I understand it. I understand the disappointment. I remember it as a player in some ways. So I do understand it, but life goes on, and no one's feeling sorry for us. We need to get ready to take advantage of this tremendous opportunity, protect home court, keep our home court winning streak going, get to New York, and do something special for this team and these seniors, because it's all about the players, and they want to finish on a good note. So I think we're going to be okay.
I know coaches don't look ahead.
No.
But hosting Illinois
State fans would be crazy.
What would that be like at Redbird Arena?
Oh. You're not going to like this, and it's true though. And I know a lot of fans have texted me. Honestly, we got 2 games to win.
Sure.
They have 2 games to win. We would love. Look, our second round, if we win tomorrow night, we get Central Florida or Colorado.
Right.
Those are 2 great teams to come to Illinois State that would be difficult to schedule. So we know we have an opportunity for some really good opponents to come in Redbird Arena. We're on spring break right now, but the fans will be back. The students will be back this weekend for our second and third round games if we win, and we just know it's going to be good opponents. So have me back on if we're going to play them, and I'll be able to answer that question.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Sounds good.
And now when I follow Dan Mueller on Twitter, which is @Dan_Mueller, and I do follow Dan, I'll know that it's actually his wife that is making up the tweets that go national.
Well, she
approves.
approves.
I make them up.
She approves.
I make them up, and it's just if I think there's going to be any controversy whatsoever, then I usually get approval first.
Yep, and as you said, you're not a dumb guy. So I mean, you know exactly the channels you need to go. Well, Coach, I know this isn't easy, and I appreciate the fact that you came on. You've always done this with us, and we appreciate it. But certainly, you knew what we were going to ask you today. You knew what we were going to bring up. But I can say this: let's look forward now. Let's get the NIT rolling. I know Illinois is trying to get their head straight tonight to face a team here at the State Farm Center in Valpo. So good luck to you guys as we go along, and hopefully we, as the media, will hope that Illinois State happens. That would be so much fun.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
Thanks,
you,
Coach. Buddy. Dan Mueller, Illinois State basketball coach. Obviously,
I'm going to say it. Dan Mueller was the subject of that interview. Lante, you were the that you brought the heat there.
Well, I'm worried about the Missouri Valley.
Well, you went from what do you do?
I know. I just went off.
This is why Wichita State's leaving, and this is why Dan Mueller is going to leave Illinois State.
Right?
I love that you just threw all that at him.
Dan's like,
into one
crap.
big hot take, and you just threw it right at him. I looked at you and I'm like, wow.
Wow, look at Lon. What's gotten into
But
him?
I can tell that's the frustration.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you're a Missouri Valley guy.
Yep.
And if you don't win this stupid tournament,
yes,
3 days in a row, that means so much more than the other 34 games you played.
It really does.
Which it stinks because I would love to see Illinois State in.
I know.
But even Dan knows.
Yeah, no,
Their
I agree.
Their resume wasn't as good as Kansas State.
Nope.
Right? Their resume wasn't as good as Rhode Island or whoever it was.
Nope.
But they just don't have the opportunities.
That's correct.
That other teams have. And they missed some opportunities. If they would have beat TCU, that would have been a top 50 win that could have helped them.
And I think what annoys me even more, and I'm not denying the fact of what you're saying, if you would have beaten a TCU, if you would have beaten Tulsa at least once and not lost to them twice, I think the thing that annoys me, though, is that I sit here and wonder if that really is reality. And here's why. Because Wichita State is a 10. A 10 seed, which you could hear Dan Mueller say, that's a joke.
It is.
And so it's one of those to where even if Illinois State would have done that, don't you just feel like the Missouri Valley was going to be they're going to be a one-entry team into the NCAA unless Illinois State would have won the championship. I think only because of Wichita State's recent past, they would have given them a flyer and probably given them a Tuesday night game. If Wichita State wouldn't have
which would have been a joke.
Which would have still been a joke.
I mean, Jerry Palm didn't have them in until they won the Valley or whatever. And I'm sitting there going, can we stop the RPI stuff?
Yes.
Can we look at the efficiency? Can we, look at the Ken Palm numbers? Look at the other metrics.
Right.
That this team is killing people in the Valley.
Yeah.
Right. Illinois State's getting by with some 5-point wins, 6-point wins, and you can tell, like the eye test, they just weren't as good as Wichita State.
Totally agree.
So Wichita State should have been a 7.
Yes.
Maybe an 8 at worst.
And now you're Dayton sitting there staring at Wichita State in the first round.
You're going to blow them out.
I mean, if you're Archie Miller right now, are you not saying, all right, give me the Illinois job? Because I've got to play.
No, he's not.
No, you're right.
I don't think he is.
I've got to play Wichita State. And, oh, by the way, if I win that, I get to play Kentucky. Unless Northern Kentucky. How about Northern Kentucky coming out of that pod? I'm kidding.
Hey, they're pretty good.
They are good.
It was a quality win for Illinois, an NCAA tournament win.
Be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
We need to talk tomorrow about our bracket.
NCAA tournament. I haven't even filled mine out. I haven't looked at it.
I'm thinking of Winthrop to the Sweet 16.
Ooh.
I'm thinking.
Little Keon.
Yeah.
Going crazy.
Thinking about it.
Who do they play first round? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
It doesn't
know
matter.
The bracket
we'll do it tomorrow. We'll break down. We have not talked any NCAA tournament bracket, so we'll do that tomorrow and kind of give you an idea. I seriously have not even filled mine out.
I did one preliminarily.
I've told you
and
this
I kind of try to stick with that.
Yeah. In the past, I've always done the same thing. As soon as it's out, I take 10 minutes, I fill it out with just my gut. This year, I was so far removed from college basketball, it's my fault that I seriously want to sit here and kind of analyze games. So I want to see how bad I do this year compared to just gut feel.
Winthrop Butler, and then it's Minnesota, Middle Tennessee State. And I like Minnesota. I think that length is going to be too much, but Middle Tennessee's a really good 12 seed.
Didn't they make 16 last year? Sweet 16,
Middle Tennessee did. They beat Michigan State a couple years ago, wasn't it? Or was it last year?
I think it was last year. Okay. Maybe then they lost after that. How about a Winthrop Middle Tennessee State
That's
game?
what I'm thinking, like Winthrop. They go on and get to the Sweet 16. I want to pick Northern Kentucky, but they're playing Kentucky.
I know.
I think I'm going to have Wichita State beat Kentucky.
I do too. Yeah. I mean, wow. There's going to be some fun games in this thing. There are some great first-round matchups in this game.
All right, let's go. Coming up next, we got Stephen Bardo, Big Ten Network. We'll get his thoughts on the Illini job opening. Next hour, Shane and Ryan from the Chicago Tribune.
Are we predicting our score tonight for Valpo in Illinois?
Sure.
Okay. We'll do that coming up. I know you'll stick around for that. It is the Tay and J Show.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. From Charlotte, here's Dari Noka.
I ran across an article this morning, didn't agree with it one bit. It was on FoxSports.com and was lengthily titled, quote, "The NCAA Tournament's First Four is a joke and one of the worst events in sports." Whoa, strong. One of the worst events in sports? You mean like all-star games or the 317 bowl games that don't matter? That bad? No way. Tonight and tomorrow night, we'll sit down and get to watch NCAA tournament games. I know. The two that put the 16 against the 16 only only mean that one goes home and the other gets blasted by a 1 seed. But you won't find 10 guys on a floor playing harder than you will in those games. But the 2 games giving us 11 against 11, those are far from the worst events in sports. In fact, in the 6 years the current first 4 format has existed, we've had 3 teams not just win that game and the next one, but make it all the way to the second weekend. 4 years ago, LaSalle went from the first 4 to the Sweet 16. The next year, Tennessee did the same thing. And in 2011, the first year of the first 4, VCU beat USC and then ran to the Final 4. Those runs started somewhere, hardly with one of the worst events in sports. In 60 seconds, it's the tweet of the week.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Housing values nationwide have risen by more than 6% year over year. Quicken Loans has smart ways to help you take advantage of your home's rising equity. In fact, you could take cash out to consolidate debt. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call 800-QUICKEN today or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Colonel Sanders here with a doozy of a joke. So, a king, a clown, and a redhead walk into a restaurant. What do they order? Duh. Their favorite KFC $5 Phillips, of course, because they're hungry. Get it? And because only the Colonel offers 5 delicious hand-prepared meals for just $5. Like the 2-piece chicken KFC $5 Phillip or the Tenders KFC $5 Phillip. You know, besides fried chicken, comedy has always been my true passion. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Tax extra.
Illinois State is the biggest snub of this dance. RPI in the 30s, they won 27 games. Valley regular season champs, but just one top 50 win. So yesterday, Redbird head coach Dan Mueller tweeted a beauty. It said, quote, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, Pac-12, Big East, looking for home and home next year. Please call me for a chance at a quality road win. Bang. But I bet his phone hasn't rung, and that's the problem. What good does it do a major conference team to travel to Normal, Illinois to play them? It's a win-win for Illinois State, a lose-lose for the big program, and that is a lose-lose for college basketball. Too bad. But keep banging down those doors, Coach. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Dari Noka.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go! Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
The season for spring cleaning is here. Freshen up your finances with Busey. Review your budget, pay down debt, and get organized. With Bill Pay from Busey, see and pay all of your bills through eBank. Plus, the Busey mobile app puts your account at your fingertips. For additional resources to spring clean your finances, visit Busey.com or stop by one of our many convenient locations today. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC.
Tuesdays can't get any respect. Every week it's like, I can't believe it's only Tuesday. No one ever asks, how was your Tuesday? But now there is something exciting about Tuesday. The Tune-Up Tuesday sale at Chief Bauer Service Experts. Get an extra $10 off our lowest sale price on an AC Precision tune-up. That means you'll get a $120 tune-up for only $59 when you book online today at chiefbauer.com. The Tune-Up Tuesday sale at Chief Bauer Service Experts. Take that, Saturday.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture so you can work towards meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact me, Mike Kessel, your Champaign Edward Jones financial advisor at 1701 Broadmoor Drive, Suite 110. Contact me today at 217-352-0117, 352-0117. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
428, I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update. Josh Whitman is cleaning up Mike Thomas's mess.
Wow.
3 days after firing men's basketball coach John Gross, Whitman announced the dismissal of men's basketball coach Matt Bolant. He finished his 5 seasons with a 61-94 record overall, 22-62 in Big Ten play. So Whitman going a different way with women's basketball. In a statement, Whitman said, "Without question, the program is in a better place today than it was when they arrived. Our expectations for women's basketball, however, match those that we have for many of our other programs to compete at the highest level year in and year out. I'm excited to embrace a future for Illinois women's basketball when we realize the program's full and virtually unlimited potential." A national search for the next head coach for women's basketball will begin immediately. Boland has 1 year remaining on his contract and will receive the remaining balance of payment due. That's approximately $450,000. Whitman also searching for a men's basketball coach. Tip time of Illinois basketball's NIT game against Valparaiso has been moved up to 6 p.m. tonight. It'll be on ESPN. Interim coach Jamal Walker will lead the Illini tonight. Malcolm Hill 33 points away from tying D. Brown for number 3 on the Illini scoring list. Valpo will be without leading scorer and NBA draft prospect Alec Peters.
Wow.
He is out with a stress fracture. Illinois football got another loss in recruiting today. 4-star Carterville tight end Luke Ford committed to Arkansas. He visited for 2 days at the Razorbacks this weekend after visiting Illinois on Friday. In the NFL, Eddie Lacy signed with the Seattle Seahawks, and the Patriots are discussing a trade of Super Bowl 49 hero Malcolm Butler to the Saints. Could get a second-round pick from New Orleans.
Don't do it, Saints. Don't do it.
Patriots.
It all comes up roses. Chandler Jones, pretty good. I think Arizona may have won that. They traded Jonathan Cooper.
What New England does is, hey, you're not going to sign with us for a team discount?
Then you're out.
We'll trade you for something.
Yep, for like a second-round pick.
Jamie
Belichick
Collins
loves those. Yeah,
I think he's got like 3 or 4 second-round picks this year.
And they'll all turn out, 3 of the 4 will turn out to be Pro Bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lance, Jeremy Warner. It's been a good show so far. Sean Harrington, ESPN college basketball analyst, had him on in the 3 o'clock hour. He is on the call tonight for Illinois and Valpo right here at the State Farm Center. And then at 4:05 earlier this hour, Dan Moeller, Illinois State basketball coach. We are going to visit with Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune. We'll do that next hour.
But right now, let's get to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. Don't forget, half off large pizzas all day Tuesdays at Jupiter's The Crossing. He's Stephen Bardo, Big Ten Network.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
Now, we're talking hoops now. With Stephen Bardo. Flying coming at you with thoughts and candor. PTN is where he talks now, making you basketball smarter. Man, I've been waiting all day now to talk hoops with Stephen Bardo.
Nice. It is time to welcoming in Steve Bardo. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, fellas. How are you?
We are good, buddy.
Well, your reaction when you heard John Gross had been fired, Stephen?
I was happy because I thought we needed a change. I was sad in one sense because that's a family that has to, make an adjustment, and I'm sure they wanted another shot at it. But I was happy that Josh Whitman was aggressive in making the change, and that now people can look forward to something new.
What do you think went wrong, Stephen, with John Gross?
You know what? I don't look at it necessarily as what went wrong. I just don't think he was a very good fit to begin with. When you're at Illinois, it's a very unique position, and if you look at his career record, he really didn't have a lot of experience from the coaching side, right. And his numbers didn't really point out that he had done, that he was a world beater at Ohio, and so I'm just thinking that I think he did pretty well for him. But in terms of the fit that Illinois needs, I just didn't think he was a very good fit.
It seems like, Stephen, Josh Whitman, who I thought just, again, stole a press conference, I think Josh Whitman made it sound like, and we talked a lot about this, was, does it matter if he makes the tournament this year? It sounds like with Whitman that he kind of parlayed all 5 years into this thing into making the decision, and I kind of like that idea. I don't know if making the tournament, in other words, this year would have saved him. Would you agree?
I would totally agree, and I was hoping that wouldn't be the case because, 5 years is enough time to look at a body of work.
Right.
And guys, listen, you've heard me say this once, and I'll say it till they throw dirt on my grave. If you're the coach at Illinois and you can't mind the talent out of Chicago, you can't be the coach at Illinois. It's pretty simple. And I know that's a tall task. I know that, it takes a special coaching staff to be able to come in and get these kids, but other people do it. And so if you want the honor of coaching the Fighting Illini, then to me, that's one of the prerequisites.
How do you get? Because Lon Kruger struggled to get kids out of Chicago. Bill Self got a couple, Luther Head and D. Brown. Obviously, Bruce really struggled with it. Jimmy Collins was able to get kids out of Chicago.
No doubt.
How do you get kids out of Chicago? How does Illinois solve this?
You have to have relationships with the power brokers, and you have to know where they are. You have to speak their language. You have to go in and develop those relationships because, unfortunately or unfortunately, those AAU programs have a lot of influence over these young student athletes. And so you've got to go in and you've got to know who the players are, and you've got to develop a relationship with those players, players meaning people that are running the AAU programs or, i.e., high school programs, and develop those relationships. That's what Jimmy Collins did so well. And, yes, it was a different day back then.
Sure.
AAU wasn't quite as prominent as it is now, but it's still the same function of relationships, and that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Stephen, does the coach need to be African-American to really dig in and get kids out of Chicago on a consistent basis? I know others can get kids from Chicago, but would that do the trick, you think?
I would like to say yes because I just think Illinois needs a black coach to begin with,
right.
But I don't think it's necessary because the thing of it is, what makes Kansas, what makes Duke, what makes Kentucky, what makes North Carolina, what makes these different programs attractive? It's because they've won.
Yeah.
And so, kids look at where can I go to win and develop myself as a player, and what coach is going to get me to that point. And so, somebody that can come in and turn Illinois around and get them to start winning, get people excited about the program again, that can be African-American, it can be non-African-American. But I'd like to see an African-American coach in there because I think it would send a message to the city of Chicago and Indianapolis and St. Louis and Milwaukee that there's a different perspective because Illinois has gotten stale in terms of college basketball and how it's viewed among people in the business, student athletes, parents. It's become stale. And so there needs to be a significant change, and I think Josh Whitman understands that.
I think that's fair.
If Josh Whitman sat you down, Stephen, and said, who do you think would make sense? I mean, if you have a couple names, like who would be guys that you think would be great at Illinois?
Well, there's a couple, and, obviously Quanzo Martin would be good just because of him being from East St. Louis, his knowledge of the Big Ten. I think he's highly respected in the Midwest. I think Kevin Keats of UNC Wilmington would be an outstanding coach. There's a lot of rumors flying around about a war chest that Whitman has, and if he's got that kind of war chest, I would call Shaka. I'd call Leonard Hamilton at Florida State if that's the route that he's going to go in terms of picking an African American. If he's open to get the best coach, that's not African American, I'd call Greg McDermott at Creighton. I'd look at Chris Holtman at Butler.
Right.
I would look at the coach at Xavier, and his name is escaping me right now.
Chris Mack.
Yeah, Chris Mack. I'd look at Chris Mack. I mean, I would look at some guys who appear to be very solid within their programs, seem to be in winning programs. I would take a run at some of those. If you got that kind of money, why not?
I know money talks, obviously, and if Josh Whitman wants to double the salary of somebody, I'm sure they'd be like, okay, hold on, I'll listen to this. Where is the Illinois program right now on the national level, Stephen? I know you're out there. You talk to a lot of guys throughout the national level, not just in Illinois or up in Chicago. Where is the brand right now of Illinois basketball? Is it good enough right now to attract some of these guys?
Well, the brand right now nationally, in terms of people in the business, is that it's almost non-existent. They don't really move the needle with anybody in terms of thinking of a place that has done anything in the last decade, because we haven't. But people that are in the business know that it's a top 20 job because of Chicago, because of the Big Ten,
sure,
because of Jalen Coleman-Lands coming from Indiana and kind of breaking that streak of not having players out of the state of Indiana. There's a lot of potential in that program, top 20, and I just think that if someone got the financial support and they've got the backing from the AD, and they could come into Chicago and start to mine this area a lot better, then Illinois could return to its greatness. But it's been, dry for so long down there that it's kind of fallen off the map.
Stephen, the last AD didn't inspire a lot of confidence, and now Josh Whitman's cleaned house of those hires. What do you think as an alum of Josh Whitman so far?
I love it, because I've been called by coaching firms, and they're trying to convince me that I need to call Josh Whitman and utilize them, and I say that's garbage. And I brought up the point of hiring Lovie Smith, and one guy told me, well, that was sort of an aberration. I said, well, let's see if we can get another aberration and let Josh do his job. And so I'm a big Josh Whitman supporter, because, one, he's an Illini. He understands what this program can be. Two, he's smart. He doesn't need a lot of people to get done what he needs to get done. He has a very tight circle. You don't hear a lot of media leaks. A lot of the media are really just speculating right now because they don't know. Mm-hmm. Because Josh has been quiet about what he's doing. I love that, because big-time programs, you hear a lot of names thrown around about when there are coaching changes, but typically the AD stays in-house, keeps it quiet, makes a decisive move, and you go about your business. So I like the way that Josh is conducting himself, and I'm firmly behind him.
He just gives you all the confidence in the world. I agree. And I told Jeremy that after that press conference the other day, that as an Illini fan right now, as you and I, we talked about the brand, in terms of moving the needle, even for me, a guy that lives right here, it's frustrating to me. And it's to the point where sometimes it's like, I don't even know how excited I am to watch this game tonight. And I think when I watch Josh Whitman speak, Stephen, I think you kind of alluded to this, he gives you the confidence that he can go out and sell Illinois basketball, football, whatever. He can sell that brand and make the right person listen.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, because, see, here's the thing, and no knock on Mike Thomas. He didn't have the presence, the personal presence. When you're in the presence of Mike Thomas, he's a nice guy, but he doesn't have the presence that Josh Whitman has.
Right.
Josh is kind of a guy that a strong, quiet type. He's a economy of words. He's a guy that, exudes confidence. And so that's very important in that role as the head of a Big Ten institution on the sports side. And I think it's those intangibles that have a lot of the fan base, especially in Chicago, so excited, because that's kind of how business gets done. It's not a outwardly verbal thing. It's not kind of a in the news, so to speak. It's kind of behind closed doors, working with people that you can trust and getting something done in a decisive manner.
Yeah, that made a lot of sense. Plus, he could throw me through a wall, Steven. So I think that's one of those where I'm just going to back off. Hey, how hard was that to sit at a desk with Terry Mills the other day?
Oh, man, I love Suge. That's his nickname, Terry Mills. We went against each other in high school, went against each other in college, played together with the Pistons. He's one of my good friends. But it was funny because, we go back and forth. And
sure.
We talk about the 89 team and 89 season. It was a lot of fun. And, that was a great event to be out in D.C. to expand the Big Ten footprint out there. That was a wonderful time.
That's funny because we were doing our show, Stephen, when you were on, so I couldn't hear it. But I was sitting there the whole time going, "Oh man, I can't believe he's got to sit next to Terry Mills." But that was cool, and I could see you guys laughing a lot. So understood that you guys have both moved on, obviously, from that '89 game. Stephen Bardo, Big Ten Network. Follow him on Twitter at Stephen Bardo. Always fun to visit again, buddy. We appreciate your time, Stephen.
No, glad to be on with you guys. Enjoy the tournament.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks,
thank you. That's another guy that alludes to the tournament that we still haven't talked about.
We don't have to talk about because that doesn't happen around here very often.
Because we've got the NIT tonight.
Woo!
Yeah, baby.
Big time.
Bring on Valpo.
Big time.
Before we take a break, we've got a call.
Can I mention this yet again?
Yes.
You are on fire. You are on fire with these questions. Like,
why did it take me 6.5 years to figure
out
how to ask
like
questions?
Jake Tapper has come across from me, asking these really good, poignant, to the point questions.
I know. I have, and you can ask any buddy of mine sitting at a local watering hole having a beer. I have looked at them in the last 2 months and said, I want the new coach to be African American.
Yeah.
And the reason is this. And because I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say good point to Stephen, because I know there's been times in the past we've had Stephen on, and a lot of people automatically go to that kind of, that little area that nobody wants to, trip upon. And that's not a word. And it becomes awkward. I've got Stephen's back on that.
I mean, race is a thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing, and it's a thing in this country.
There's no
right?
doubt. And here's why. Because I'm so sick of needing Chicago to win basketball games. So if Illinois has been the problem all along, and I'm going to give Chicago the benefit of the doubt, if Illinois has been the problem all along, because I was here with Jimmy Collins, and he brought guys down here. So if Illinois has been the problem, then I want to solve it. I want to see if an African-American coach can come here and solve that problem.
Yeah.
If an African-American coach comes here and they don't solve that problem, then I'm going to pinpoint it straight back to Chicago and say, you know what, Chicago, you're a pain in the you-know-what.
Well, and he mentioned it, and Sean mentioned it. It's not necessary.
No.
He would like one.
I'm
I think
glad
for the
that he said
same
that.
reason.
Yep.
He'd like one, but it's not necessary because you've seen Bill Self come in here.
Absolutely.
And do it.
Yep.
You know, Lon Kruger was able to do it for a little bit. Not in Chicago.
No.
But he was able to do it. I mean, Lou Henson was a white coach.
Yes.
But he had the right people around him on his staff.
That's correct.
So if it's a Tony Bennett, like I don't know how you can argue with that hire.
No.
Like, if it's that kind of guy, but I do understand the pull. And I think Josh Whitman thought the same thing with football. It's
I
like,
agree.
I have a great coach, and he's black. Like that. Let's see how that works at Illinois, where we haven't had.
Right.
And we're one of the few programs in the country that hasn't had an African-American coach. Is it why you hire him? I don't think so.
No, not at all. And I hope people understand that.
I don't think so. But if it's a qualified coach and it happens to be African-American, I think that is a discussion that happens.
That's a bonus.
Right? Like
that's a box
it
that's
happens
never been checked.
Because I've talked to coaches about Lovey.
Yeah.
Because I've sat there and gone, I'm a kid from big white farm town an hour south of Chicago.
Yep, and I'm from Camargo.
This might be a dumb question, but I don't know the answer to it.
Exactly.
You know, I asked Trinity coach Corey Patterson, does having an African-American coach matter when recruiting St. Louis kids from the inner city? He said no one will say it out loud, but yes.
Yes, it does.
Because that guy knows where we come from.
Yep.
He knows where these kids
and the kids
their
trust him.
situations are, and the kids just trust him. The parents trust him a little bit more. Now, if you're a good coach, whether it's John Calipari, Bill Self, Coach Krzyzewski, and you start getting kids to the pros, and you've built that trust up,
boom,
then you can get in there too. You can win with those kids. You can get those kids. But for Illinois, you haven't been able to.
Not at all.
For the last 2 decades for the most part.
Not at all. And I know a lot of people that are my age that were around in that 89
I know
team.
it makes people uncomfortable to hear this talk.
It totally
but
does.
It's from talking with people like that. I talked to a guy up in Chicago who's a Chicago public school. He goes, yes, it matters. There's just a comfort level. There's an understanding that
no doubt
a guy like me can't have.
No, and I'm the same way, and it even it made me a little uncomfortable. That's why I've never brought it to the airwaves. But if you ask my personal friends when we're sitting there having a beer, that's the first thing I say. Now, I don't say a name to it, and I don't say I just want an African-American coach. It's like you said, I want a good coach. And if they're a good coach that's African-American, boom. Then I want to see if that's going to work in Chicago. And if that doesn't work in Chicago, if you don't start getting the trust of some of these inner city guys that are, you hear a lot of garbage about that. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to know, you know what, Illinois? You took the chance with it. You thought you could make that happen. It didn't. And guess what? It's not our issue anymore. It's Chicago's issue.
And when you have a predominantly African-American sport, like football or basketball, I mean, think of the Big Ten. They have no African-American coaches in the basketball.
That's crazy.
It's all, it's.
I have thought of that before, but it's crazy.
I mean, there's not very many African-American head coaches there anyway.
Not at all.
Seems like it's actually going down.
Wow.
In basketball for some reason.
And there's a couple of guys out there that would be.
I mean, Kevin Keats is a very good candidate.
Yep.
I know people wouldn't go crazy over it because he's a mid-major guy, but he's dominated there. He's recruited at Louisville, was at one of the best AAU programs. Konzo Martin, I should say, he's a good coach at Power 5. Is he a great one? I don't know.
Right.
But a lot of people think he would recruit really, really well here.
I am trying not to smile and laugh right here at our last text because it's hilarious. Are you seeing it?
Juan has gone from Danny Cannell to Ryan Russillo the last 2 days.
Don't worry, Danny's coming back soon.
That is perfect.
That's just nailing it right on the head.
Man.
Danny Cannell's coming back.
I gotta
I gotta go get some water. I gotta get some water right now. All right, Jeremy, not you, Jeremy, but Jeremy in Georgetown. You need to hold on. We got to take a quick break. We'll get to you right after this. He wants to talk about the next coaching position as well at Illinois. We'll do it next. It's the Tay and J Show.
This is Chris Raby inviting you to follow the Redbirds this offseason on the Cardinals Countdown to Opening Day show presented by Amaranth. Join me along with Mike Claiborne for the latest news on the 2017 Cardinals. We'll hear from Mike Matheny, John Mozela, Cardinals coaches and players, and Cardinals broadcasters John Rooney, Rick Horton, and the voice of the Cardinals, Mike Shannon. Catch all the Cardinals action right here on the Cardinals Countdown to Opening Day show, presented by Amaranth on the Cardinals Radio Network.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Exciting football action is back this Saturday, March 18th at the Coliseum in Bloomington. Don't miss the Bloomington Edge indoor football team as they take on the Omaha Beef. Tickets are affordable and perfect for the whole family. And the Edge mini-season ticket package gets you a great deal. A single game ticket to any 3 home games of your choice for just $33. Plus this Saturday, the Edge are partnering with March of Dimes, and kids get a free quick dry t-shirt and a chance to come on the field at halftime. Buy tickets at bloomingtonedge.net or call 484-840-EDGE.
One thing we all have in common is the inherent trait that we want our money to work hard for us, as hard as we work to earn it. If you're looking for a great rate of return on your money with quick turnaround, check out the 11-month CD special at the Prospect Bank. They're offering an 11-month CD special at 1.01% interest with a minimum of $1,000 to open. The Prospect Bank is making your money work harder for you. A division of Edgar County Bank and Trust Company, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Stay toasty this winter with Matex Heating and Cooling's hot winter deals. Choose a rebate of up to $1,000 or 0% interest payments for 3 years on your new qualifying Trane heating and cooling system. Call Matex Heating and Cooling today at 355-9700 or visit online at mattexservice.com. It's hard to stop a train.
See your independent Trane dealer for details. Call 888-653-0051 for financing program details. About credit costs and terms. Regular APR at 28.99% for newly opened accounts. APR may vary. Subject to credit approval. Offer expires March 15, 2017.
This is Chuck Lee with Provident Financial Group. What will you do during the next market correction? At Provident, we believe a sound financial plan is the surest way to avoid panic during market volatility. Contact us today to put a plan in place for you. The securities and advisory services are through Commonwealth Financial Network. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
ESPN Radio 93.5. Lance, Jeremy Warner, Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune is going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour.
Some rule changes for the NIT that you should be aware of for tonight.
Right.
There are 2 10-minute segments each half.
Okay.
So it's basically quarters. They call them 2 10-minute segments.
Going back to my roots when you played quarters.
Yeah. Team fouls reset to 0 at the end of each segment. And teams are limited to 4 personal/technical fouls per segment. So after 5 fouls, the 5th foul,
it's
you start
a
double bonus.
Okay.
And overtime, teams are limited to 3 personal fouls before you get 2 free throws.
Okay.
There's a 20-second shot clock when the ball is inbounded in the front court.
Got it.
So basically, NBA rules.
Right. Exactly.
Only 10 minutes instead of 8.
And that's
12
why
minute.
they're wanting to. So it'll be a little bit different. I don't know
why they don't do it anyway.
I know. I think the players can adjust to this quicker than the fans.
Do you think there should be 5 fouls instead of 6 fouls?
I think 6 would be fine. Why not just keep guys in the game?
I agree with you.
Now, you know me, the traditionalist guy that would sit there and say,
yes, it's kind of shocking.
Whoa, hold on a second. But you know what? I mean, yeah, if Malcolm Hill is sat, you know what it would remove? It would remove the 2 fouls early in a game and you're done. Yeah, because how many times does that affect a game?
I think it's bad for high school and college sports.
No doubt, because how many times, and I don't blame coaches for saying, you know what, he's got 2 fouls, I can't afford him to get a third. All right, 359-2255. Jeremy, you've been holding, buddy, and we appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Representing the Georgetown Ridge Farm area. I love it.
There you go.
What do you got today?
I got a question. You guys have probably addressed this topic over the last couple of days, and I just missed it. But a guy that stands out in my head every time I think about it, he's been given a lot of credit for all the recruiting when he was at Illinois, and now that he's with Kansas, so you probably know who I'm talking about. And he's African-American. Is Jarrence Howard on anyone's radar? And if not, why not? And if so,
Well, Jeremy,
I just wondered if you could talk a little about that.
Are you talking for a head coach, or would you mean for him as being an assistant?
Oh, in any capacity, really, just to get him back on campus.
Okay, that's fair. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate the call. That makes the question fair there.
Well,
only in this regard.
He's talking about a head coach.
But he's talking head coach, and Jeremy and I have talked about this. I personally, as an Illini fan, do not want my next coach to be someone that has never been a head coach.
And Josh Whitman's referred to that. And I think Illinois should have that unless you've been under Coach K for 10 or 12 years.
Right. There are examples out there of guys that have done it.
Right.
And he's under a guy like Bill Self, and that's fair.
When he was at Illinois, who did he recruit?
That's the problem.
Go look it up.
Yep. That's the thing I think people forget.
Yes, and I get why people look at rankings all the time. My site has rankings.
Right.
Those really don't matter. Mike Shaw was a top 75 recruit.
Yeah, right.
Michael Henry was a top 75 recruit.
Yep.
Jeremy Richmond, what'd he give you?
Yeah, 1 year.
He was talented.
Yep.
But, I mean, these are the guys we're talking about that Jarrence Howard got.
That's correct.
And, yes, they're ranked high. Yeah, Crandall.
Yeah.
Ranked high.
Yep.
What'd they do for you?
They didn't.
What'd they do for you? And he's not known as an X's and O's guy. So if you want to bring him in as your top assistant, sure.
Yeah.
Give him $300,000-$400,000 and be your top assistant.
I would be more apt to do that. I would, in other words, as a fan, I would be fine with that. I'd be fine with Jarrence Howard being my lead assistant. I do not want Jarrence Howard as my head coach yet. Now, that doesn't mean he couldn't go take over Bradley, and this is what you and I brought about.
That's what he's got to do.
Right, and why hasn't Bradley hired
Why
him?
hasn't somebody? Yeah, Bradley,
they had an opening.
Reportedly a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they hire him?
Right.
He makes too much sense there.
Exactly.
If he's a good head coaching candidate.
That's right. So that's kind of where we are now. Does that mean Jeremy and I are right on everything? No. Maybe Jarrence Howard could come here and absolutely turn this thing around, and I'd love it.
I doubt it.
I would love it. And it'd be awesome because I know Jarrence and I used to cover Jarrence and it'd be fun.
He's simply not qualified.
He's not qualified, and that's kind of what I alluded to with Dion yesterday as well, with regards to are they qualified if you've never been a head coach? But maybe they'd prove us wrong.
Kyle tweeted in, Jeremy, your reaction to that last call watching on YouTube was priceless. You can watch that.
Hey, but I appreciate the thoughts, though, and the opinions of everybody.
I got to sneak out and cover this NIT game. Carp's going to come in. You guys are going to talk to Shannon Ryan from the Tribune as well.
Okay, we'll do Drive Time next. It is the Tay and J Show.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company, and for over 60 years, we've been providing worry-free home improvements. If you've thought about either siding, windows, maybe you need to replace that roof, how about a deck, a pergola, awnings? We also have the 4-season sunrooms and screen rooms, or the gutter helmet. If any of those home improvements are in your near future, call us right now at Kramer Siding or stop by our beautiful showroom at 708 North Country Fair Drive.
Here's your chance to win cash and do something good for animals during our Paws for the Cause Pet Food and Supplies Drive. First Financial Bank invites you to enter our pet photo contest. 25 winners throughout our service area will each receive a $100 cash prize. If you win, we'll also donate $100 to the nonprofit animal welfare organization of your choice. For entry details and official rules, visit our website at first-online.com. First Financial Bank. Member FDIC.
Check that out. Is Bill doing the Running Man? Yep. Bill just switched to Cricket Wireless, and he's really feeling this whole free phone thing. He got a free Samsung Galaxy Amp 2 when he switched on a plan that's only $30 a month. Oh, is that the Cha-Cha? Yeah.
Woo! Shake those hips, Bill! Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about.
Limited time offer while supplies last. Requires number ported and activation of eligible service. Minimum $30 per month. First month service charge due with sale tax may apply. Fees and restrictions apply. Coverage not available everywhere. $30 per month plan not eligible for auto pay credit or group safe discount.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney.
Stay off the road.
That's the advice from New Jersey Governor Chris Christie as a winter storm pounds the Northeast.
Tomorrow, we should be ready to deal with the normal rush hour traffic. The roadways, according to DOT, should be fine by tomorrow morning. We may have some issues of refreezing tonight, but we're out there with salters to make sure that we try to put the roads in the best condition we can.
Some areas of the Northeast are getting 1 to 2 feet of snow. In coastal areas, the snow is mixing with sleet and freezing rain. Mass transit is disrupted. More than 6,000 flights have been canceled, and nearly 250,000 homes and businesses are without power. Changes are likely to be made to the Republican health plan to replace Obamacare.
Despite getting a CBO score which projects that 24 million people would become uninsured over the next 10 years under the Republican health care plan, White House spokesman Sean Spicer defended the bill, saying GOP lawmakers have a choice, this or Obamacare.
This is the only vehicle that seeks to achieve what people on our side of the aisle have been talking about since 2010. This is it.
Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, a member of the Freedom Caucus, said that he and other conservatives have been working with the White House on changes to the bill that they've dubbed Obamacare Light.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. The Trump administration is delaying a new rule designed to tighten safety requirements for companies that store large amounts of dangerous chemicals. They would have to make public the types and quantities of chemicals stored on site. The chemical industry says that could provide too much information for terrorists and other criminals. Stock indexes closed lower, the Dow dropping 44 points, S&P losing 8 points, NASDAQ down nearly 19. The price of oil slipping to just under $48 a barrel. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Right now is a great time to buy a home. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or an experienced one, Quicken Loans has many options that may be right for your unique financial situation. We can even show you how to get pre-approved for a mortgage with as little as 1% down. That's only $2,000 down on a $200,000 mortgage. No matter what's happening with the housing market, it's always a smart move to call us at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Experience the confidence that comes from working with a mortgage partner that has your best interest in mind. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing.
Call 800-QUICKEN today or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
House Intelligence Committee is still waiting for proof from the White House to back up the president's accusations that former President Obama wiretapped Trump Tower during the election.
The House Intelligence Committee issued this statement. They want an answer before Monday's public hearing on the Russia investigation. And it reads in part, quote, if the committee does not receive a response by then, the committee will ask for this information during the March 20th hearing and may resort to a compulsory process if our questions continue to go unanswered.
Fox's Catherine Herridge. The White House is distancing itself from anti-immigration comments by Republican Congressman Steve King of Iowa. He said America can't restore its civilization with someone else's babies. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says President Trump doesn't share that point of view and believes he's the president for all Americans. A blind woman has a beef with American Airlines. Sue Martin says she was kicked off a flight after requesting a seat change to accommodate her seeing eye dog.
Martin says the flight attendant refused her request, and a man in first class later offered his seat, which she accepted. That's when she said she was asked to leave by an American Airlines employee who says her presence on the plane was not safe. Martin, who's been blind since a suicide attempt when she was 26, saying in her decades of travel, she's never run into a problem flying with a guide dog. An American Airlines spokesperson saying it's investigating the allegations. The airline policy on service animals says they're welcome on all flights and there are no additional charges for those traveling in the cabin. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
And American Airlines is bringing back free meals to economy travelers on certain cross-country flights starting in May. The decision follows Delta's announcement about a month ago that it would restore free meals in economy on a dozen long-haul domestic routes this spring. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast from the National Weather Service, brought to you by Chief Bauer.
Who are you?
I'm Mike Carpenter.
Oh, I know you.
I'm out of breath because I've been playing Knockout with Harry and Andrew. And I know it's not far that you have to run back and forth, but man.
Andrew comes in here and gives everybody a workout.
Wow.
Welcome to trying to stay up with a 9-year-old kid. Good
pretty
luck.
Fun, though.
It is
I got to say, pretty fun.
It is fun.
Tonight, by the way, cheapbauer.com and 866-EXPERTS. 28 was the high today. I'm way discombobulated. 15's the low tonight. 30 and sunny tomorrow with a low of 14. And then Thursday, sunny with a high of 44.
It's going to
low
be nice this weekend.
Of 34. Yeah, this weekend should be in around 50 degrees both of the days, but sunny. So we have that going for us. Right now, 26 spotty flurries in the area.
All right, I know it's time for drive time, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but I wanted to explain a little bit what's happening here. Mike Carpenter's sitting in the final hour for Jeremy Warner. Jeremy's going to head over to State Farm Center and get his, he's a media guy. They got to get there early so they can eat their slice of pizza and drink their Dasani water is what we're having. So I'm going to rip on Jeremy for that. No, I kid. And you and I are actually going to the game tonight. You already have tickets. I do not. I'm going to go to the walk-up and just get a couple tickets for Andrew and I. And
there you go.
I'm looking forward to this. Is there any excitement level at all for you about this game?
Sure, why not?
Same here.
And I think the difference is, and you guys have hit on it, that this would have a cloud over it, I feel like, if John Grosser's still the head coach.
Yes.
But hope springs eternal. These games are sort of like, to me, it's like spring training.
Right.
It doesn't ultimately mean a whole lot, wins and losses.
It doesn't.
But you are getting some guys some more reps. Yep. And during this process, I mean, what's most of the chatter, if you imagine fan to fan, whoever they went to the game with tonight,
right?
What is most of the chatter going to be about?
Coach.
Right.
It's who's the next coach.
And it's fun chatter, as it should be. And we touched on this yesterday on the Monday show with me and Steve, that, we are in a far different place than 5 years ago, solely based on two reasons. The athletic director.
Yes, I'm glad you went number one with him.
And then the resources that athletic director has to work with.
Yes.
This is a different ballpark that we're talking about, and it's been an exciting day. Yep. It's hard not to get caught up in these rumors, but the place, of course, is Illini Inquirer to just kind of follow all that.
No doubt. Now, you were in here the last 3 days last week when John Gross was still our coach. Or not our, that's not professional. We're still Illinois' coach, but it's our to you and I, right?
Yes, it is.
Then Saturday you did the show. You and I did the show for a couple of hours when the move was made. I still haven't really talked to you about candidates you'd like to see. But before we get to that, I want to ask you this, because I brought it up to Stephen Bardo, and Jeremy and I talked about it a lot. I mentioned to Stephen Bardo that I have told a lot of my buddies when I'm sitting around having a beer at the local watering hole, I tell my buddies that I would like to see, unless it's a home run Tony Bennett kind of hire, I would like to see the next hire to be an African-American coach. Now, let me explain why. Maybe you didn't hear this or maybe you did. The reason I say that is because of this. I'm tired of Chicago. I'm tired of Chicago always seemingly having a say in everything, right? Now, you know that the studs are up there. We get that. Well, guess what? Every once in a while, Lon Kruger benefited from this with Serge and Frank and Marcus Griffin. Now John Gross was going to, and the new coach, if they keep him, will benefit from guys like DeMonte Williams, Jeremiah Tillman, Javon Pickett, and hopefully Trent Frazier and Mark Smith.
Yeah.
Right there, if you take Smith out of the equation, you've got 4 downstate guys. Every once in a while that happens, and that's great. The problem is that doesn't happen often enough to where you can just supplement your roster every year with downstate guys. You still need Chicago. Illinois understands this. Fans understand this. And here's the deal. Chicago understands that. And they play it to their advantage all the time. I get frustrated with that. I get frustrated to the point of where I'm saying, what else do you want? What do you want? I respect Stephen Bardo. I respect Deion Thomas. I respect guys like that speak to the fact of you've got to get somebody in there that will, kind of make the inroads. Make friends.
You think that some of the subtext to all of this Chicago talk is
without a doubt,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge,
without a doubt,
get a black coach.
That's without a doubt in my mind. Now that's me. That's my personal opinion.
I don't think that's a crazy thought at all.
So my thought is this: if Jimmy Collins did it, he did it well back in the day. Illinois then didn't hire Jimmy Collins, and of course that caused some uproar up in Chicago. Ever since then, Illinois has been fine with Lon Kruger, Bill Self, Bruce Weber did well early. Of course, John Gross we know about.
It was a great 9 years.
It was a great 9 years under Bruce Weber. So here's my thought. If Chicago thinks Illinois is doing it wrong, then I want to put the onus back on Chicago. I want Illinois to hire not only an African-American coach, I want him to be a good coach. In other words, I don't want him to just hire an African-American if he's not considered a good coach.
Right.
But if that's the case and that guy is hired, and then he still can't make inroads in Chicago, then guess what, Carp? To me, that's a dead subject. You'll never be able to recruit Chicago that well. Every once in a while, you'll be able to take somebody from up there. But me going forward at the age of 46 now, let's say 50 by the time this next coach could go in there and prove that. From 50 on, never again am I going to worry about Chicago. And I'll never hear anybody complain about it. And I almost cursed there.
I think it's okay to not mince words about this.
No.
I mean, having a black head coach for basketball, I'm in the same boat as you are. I would love to see a black head coach. And it's not just one of those. Sometimes you have people, they'll say, oh, well, he's a good coach and he happens to be black. No, we can stop kind of
absolutely
dancing around this. I mean, listen, part of the reason that Lovie Smith, I feel, is going to have success here.
No doubt.
Is that when it comes to St. Louis, when it comes to the St. Louis metro area, when it comes to Chicago, he is going to be able to get you in more doors than, well, certainly Tim Beckman, but a lot of other coaches as well.
Sure.
And when it comes to basketball, sort of the concerns that you voiced about Chicago, either it will ultimately happen or it won't.
Right.
It's sort of like blank or get off the pot, Chicago, right? That you could maybe go part way addressing that by getting a good black coach in here.
Yes.
Now, as we look at the pool of candidates, it appears that there are 2. And that would be Konzo Martin.
Yep.
And it's so weird that I'm not saying Kwanzo, but I guess it is Konzo.
It is Konzo.
It is Konzo, okay. And then Kevin Keats.
Right.
Now, I actually think Kevin Keats is a very interesting name, and I would not in the least bit be disappointed with that, despite not being in a Power 5 program or anything like that. The record speaks for itself, regardless of conference.
No doubt.
That would excite me, knowing he's a good recruiter as well. Konzo still, despite the not-so-great win-loss record, does excite me because ultimately I do think talent wins.
Yes.
Even John Gross, if he would have gotten all these guys, would still be here now.
No doubt.
But I understand the concerns about win-loss record. So for me, it's like this. Tony Bennett is A1, number 1 home run hire.
Without
More
a doubt.
so, in my mind, than Greg Marshall due to fit.
Yes.
That's something Whitman hit on. I agree with. Greg Marshall is going to win a lot of games, but he is a prickly SOB. and Tony Bennett, not so prickly.
No.
Nice guy.
Yep.
That would fit here. And I can envision that.
Yep.
Not so much Greg Marshall. I have a hard time envisioning that. Bryce Drew.
Yes.
I can envision that. And there's something that excites me about him being a young guy, great record at Valpo, pretty good first season at Vanderbilt when you consider all the players they lost from last year. But after that, it goes to Konzo / Kevin Keats.
Yep.
Both of them with different benefits. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I didn't get to hear the Bardo interview and what he said, but I did see the tweet from Jeremy that basically, yeah, it'd be great to have a black coach, but it's still more important to just get the best coach that's out there.
I totally agree. And we had a text come in. I'm 36. Black coach will not matter until we win, coach or not. That's not right. Illinois won plenty during Bill Self and Lon Kruger, and that still didn't make that much of an impact in Chicago. So that's not right. Now, there's another text on here that says Chicago's about money, not race. That could maybe be correct.
I think there's something
that's
to that.
That's probably
because,
more right than the other.
Right. Well, because they're going to play for Rick Pitino, and they're going to play for UNC and Duke and things like that.
Don't get me wrong. Winning helps.
Yeah.
I know it helps. But Illinois has won at a very high level. And if you don't tell me that when Bruce Weber got here and you just played for a national championship, that you then if that's what you're saying, that winning counts, then you should have been able to just absolutely slay in Chicago. And guess what? You didn't.
You would think. And what's kind of funny is that because I was not around, or I wasn't old enough to register everything that was happening during the Deion Thomas situation. And certain names like LaFonso Ellis, or for that matter,
Konzo Martin.
And I know he was the Metro St. Louis area, and then LaFonso would have been out of Chicago, right? And that would have been
No. LaFonso was out of East St. Louis.
Oh, okay. So 2 East St. Louis guys. And then you had Juwan Howard out of Chicago, which who's to say, but he liked Illinois from what I remember. So growing up, because there was some pretty early success with Lon Kruger with these downstate kids, Chicago was a cherry on top.
Yes.
And you did get the D Brown, but I don't know what Proviso East is compared to the CPL.
Absolutely.
I don't know how that
Powell's
fits.
from up there.
Joliet.
Right.
That's what makes it tough. Luther.
Yeah, Luther. Now Luther is that.
And I do think, and this is a text too, Kevin Keats, who worked for Rick Pitino for 4 years, and absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, that is another consideration as well. Konzo is a consideration because he can get a guy like Charlie Moore.
Absolutely.
And why couldn't he get more guys from Morgan Park or those other schools up there? I agree. I mean, it's frustrating to think that you have to maybe play dirty up there.
Right.
We've had this conversation before. Are you okay with bending the rules to win a title?
Yes.
Yeah, I am. Do it smart.
Right.
I mean, morally, is it right? I don't know. Is it morally right that we're trotting these kids out for a 68-team tournament where they see $0 and the NCAA sees a few billion?
That's a great point.
Is that morally correct?
Here's the last thing I want to get. I want to get this point across to everybody listening and formulating opinions about what I'm saying. This is why I want an African-American coach. It's to put the onus back to Chicago. That's it.
So this is a vengeful hire.
It kind of, no, well, but I honestly think that, and you're seeing it with Lovey, I honestly think it would work. I really honestly,
I do too.
If I didn't think it would work, then I wouldn't just say, okay, I don't care if this guy's a good coach. I just want to know if Chicago will send recruits down here because he's a black guy. I want to know if Chicago will finally say, okay, Illinois, you finally figured it out. And you know why? Because I've heard hints from different players that used to play at Illinois.
Yes.
And we've heard them on the air. So that's the thing that, okay, let's put this to bed. And if Illinois brings in an African-American coach, and then the city of Chicago finally says, okay, we're willing to play with you now. We're willing to give you some of our guys, which sounds so horrible.
Well, but that's not too crazy, though, when you consider the way that AAU operations are run anyways.
Absolutely.
What shoe company does your AAU team belong to? Adidas? Well, you can go to Michigan or Louisville or exactly.
Exactly.
Or I guess not Michigan anymore.
There's
They're
so much dirtiness, and maybe it's too dirty. Maybe just having an African-American coach isn't the difference. And maybe it's just a little the dirtiness that a lot of people allude to as we go along.
I do think that if Bill Self had remained here, he would have been getting the Chicago guys similar to Kansas.
I agree with you.
So I understand the notion that, okay, how about them, Apples Chicago? Was this what was bothering you all along, that we didn't have a black coach? And I know that we've had Bardo on before, and as a white kid who went to the U of I can't speak to the experience of black students at the U of I.
Neither can Jeremy, and neither can you and I. No, the three of us can't.
But I'm not going to dismiss Steven's experiences
not
here.
at all.
And that was when he was a big man on campus and was still dealing with things that I never had to deal with. So I think there may be something to this. This can go back even more macro. downstate Chicago. Personally, I love the city of Chicago.
Sure.
I wish Illinois was a more homogenous state where there wasn't this divide. But you could go to New York State, and the people in Albany probably hate the people in Brooklyn.
No, there's no doubt.
So this is not necessarily unique to Illinois, but Chicago, for me, is something that can supplement the talent that you get elsewhere.
Yes.
In other words, you're going to have your greatest success probably with a roster that is not bare of Chicago talent.
No.
But you can also still succeed with only a guy here, a guy there. And that's really all I'm asking for. Whoever the coach is get that guy that takes you from top 4 in the Big Ten to Big Ten champion, because you need that. And we got lucky with the Peoria pipeline.
No doubt.
And we did get the D. Brown and the Luther Head for the 04-05 team, but you need to get those guys, because 88-89 does not happen without Chicago.
No. And Carp, if you get the best out of Chicago every year, if you get the best 2 or 3 out of Chicago every year, you're going to be playing for national titles.
Before we go ahead to the phone line here, I've talked about a window of opportunity in the Big Ten.
Yes.
And that exists. I feel pretty confident in that, and I don't think I'm thinking with my heart. I think it's more objective that these schools that are in front of you right now, there's nothing to say that they are permanently in front of you.
Right.
Indiana was the one blue blood school in the Big Ten.
No doubt.
And depending on what they do with their coaching situation, they don't scare me that much. Because for most of my life, Illinois has been equals, if not better than Indiana. I didn't see the 80s. And none of these recruits saw the 80s either. They don't care about those national titles.
They really don't.
They might care about 5 national titles. We have 1.
Right.
Technically. Wink, wink. But thinking about nationally, and Josh Whitman's talking nationally, so I'm going to do that real quick.
Yeah.
Is that when we look at the schools that are going in and getting these top talents out of Chicago, when you get these really good classes like the Jalil Okafor and the Tyler Ulis and things like that, that if Illinois starts poaching those guys, when a Coach K runs his course, when a Roy Williams runs his course, when a Rick Pitino is not going up there, when Bill Self, fingers crossed, finally goes to the NBA after he wins his next and second title with Kansas.
Exactly.
Why can't Illinois get in there, corner that market, or at least get the guys consistently out of there and be a top 10 program?
I agree.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I know you got to take one step at a time, but it's hard not to think and dream big when we get rumors like we have today about what Illinois is willing to spend on a coach.
No doubt. All right, here's what we got. We got Shannon Ryan coming up soon, so we got to get to her, but I want to get to the 3 callers that we have here. So I'll just ask, unlike Carp and I, just don't be long-winded.
Yeah, sorry
you
about
and I.
that.
No, I'm the same way. I've been talking. Jeremy was sitting over there going, are you done? So let's start with Jim in Champaign on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. How you doing, Jim?
Yeah, there's a lot of criteria to select a coach. I have yet to hear anybody talk about the type of head of hair they've got. Every one of those guys that Carpenter just reeled off their names, they have a solid head of hair. Lou Henson thought it was important because he kind of covered his head. I think you really have to look at that and just see, you pick a guy. What kind of hair does he have on his head?
Okay,
that will determine if he's a good coach or not.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Let's go to Ephraim in Urbana. How you doing, Ephraim?
Hey, I'm great.
Good, buddy.
Hey, I wanted to say that I know that you mentioned Lovie Smith and the success of a coach. I really feel like the way that the guys are going to relate to people from Chicago are not going to relate to just a black coach. There's an authenticity to a coach that you need to take into account too, because a guy like Bruce Arians or Rex Ryan, I know I'm talking football, but players relate to those type of coaches differently. And so, even if it was a white guy, you gotta look at the way a coach carries himself and the way he talks and the way he's going to relate to those players.
Ephraim, I'll prove your point here, and I agree. I think it's an excellent point. We all know Lovie Smith. When you're around Lovie, thank you, Ephraim, for the call. When you're around Lovie, I just sit there and I just stare at him like you are so stinking impressive.
Yeah, there's a presence, and it's real.
You know who had that? Bill Self.
Yes.
And I said the story to you about when I went in that one time, the first time I ever interviewed Bill, and he threw that piece of paper at me and said, read that crap. And then he started talking to me, and it was 20 minutes later, I was done with that interview. I shook his hand. I said, Coach, good luck here. Look forward to covering you. I walked out of that room, and I'm like, I would have either, and I don't think at the time maybe Lucas was born. I know Andrew wasn't, but I remember thinking, I will send any kid to go play with that guy.
Yes.
And I agree, Ephraim. I think that is a lot. And I'm not saying, obviously, that the color is the biggest reason. All I'm saying is the onus of Chicago, I want to put it back on them. Is this what Illinois is doing wrong? Because you're sending them everywhere else, and Illinois doesn't have the cachet that a Calipari and a Kentucky has and a Duke has, and that's taken a lot of years for those programs to get that. So that's the one thing.
Even Lon Kruger had a quiet authenticity that
yes, he still did.
I mean, it was still like when you would see Lon Kruger, you I don't want to say starstruck, but you felt a presence. Like that was a guy that you respected, just like naturally.
Absolutely.
And not to say that Weber or Gross or even football coaches have not had that same sort of quality. But there is yeah, I know some of these texts are great about poor Jim from Champaign. I always love a good follicle discussion. But the funny thing is, as he was talking about that, I couldn't help but think about all the toupee rumors about Bill Self.
At first, I thought I forgot about that. All right, hold on. Let's go to Matt and Sydney to finish this off. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, not bad. How are you guys doing?
Good, man.
My only opinion on this is most of the athletes there that you're recruiting or whatnot are African American. They're probably going to feel at least a little bit more comfortable with an African American coach. But obviously, don't get me wrong, I would love to see the best man for the job.
Yeah, correct.
But my biggest thing is how few head coaches there are. It takes all of the assistant coaches years and years and years to crack into this.
No doubt.
But I just feel like that we would be maybe a little bit better off if we could find the best, well, not only the best person for the job, but an African American, to give them more opportunity and more kids that, you know, when they look at the Illinois coach, they'll say, hey, maybe I could do that one of these days.
Sure.
All right, I'll let you guys go.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate the call, buddy.
Thanks for all the calls and the texts. We really appreciate that.
The one guy said Jim just slipped off his bar stool at Huber's.
Yeah, I've been there, so
I'm
worries.
sorry, Jim. I think at first I thought you were going with the idea
and
that...
I don't know if he was making a point like, okay, like skin color, hair.
That's
that
where I thought he was going at
things.
first, and then I was like, well, hold on a second.
By the way, this segment, we didn't do drive time particularly, but this is brought to you by Honda BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy. Visit online at drivechampaign.com. We do have pictures from the State Farm Center.
Okay.
The NIT logo was plastered on the video boards. And right now, Josh Whitman is talking to media about the firing of Matt Boland.
Okay.
But coming up after the break, we have Shannon Ryan, and maybe we can get some of the particulars. I know that she had written about a few concerns about this coaching search, including not using a search firm.
Fair enough. We'll go with that next. And by the way, we did have someone a little bit ago say that Matt Boland had been fired, that Channel 3 was reporting that. Yeah, we knew that, and we came off leading the show with that. So don't you think CIA scoops us? Actually, I think Jeremy scooped everybody on that one. But and I hate saying scoop. I hate that. That's a guy's job. The point is, we had already reported that, and we would have talked about that at drive time, and we didn't. So Shannon Ryan is coming up next. Chicago Tribune. It's the Tay and J Show.
Hello, human. It's me, your dog. I know your car battery died, so you couldn't make it home on time, but I just wanted to let you know that everything is A-okay. I made you a couple presents. You know, the kind you pick up in a plastic bag? Yeah, I put one right on your pillow. I figured that'd be the best place for you to find it. Also, the couch needed a little shredding, so I took care of that, too. Also, I ate the mail. Who's a good boy? I am.
Make sure you'll be there. Get a car battery test today. Find a location at interstatebatteries.com. Interstate Batteries. Outrageously dependable.
Got a question? Talk to our experts now at StevieJay.com. Experts are there, ready to answer your questions for free. Home improvement question. Our experts from Land, Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing can help. Need help with home remodeling? Talk to our service experts from Flooring Services, where the world is at your feet. Need to pay for those home improvements? Talk to our financial experts from the U of I Community Credit Union. They are the Stevie J Broadcasting experts. Ask an expert today at StevieJay.com. That's StevieJay.com.
The Upper Bout in Champaign, a music store with a different kind of attitude. Their showroom features high-quality brands from Gibson, Martin, and Taylor guitars to Vox, Mesa Boogie, and Analog Outfitters amplifiers. The Upper Bout's expert staff will personalize your experience, answering every question and setting up your guitar exactly the way you want it. Whether you're a lifelong musician looking to add to your collection or a lifelong music fan looking to buy your first guitar and take up lessons, The Upper Bout has you covered. Stop by The Upper Bout on Neal Street in Champaign, next to El Toro, or visit them online at theupperbout.com. About.com.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy. Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy. Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Latte, Mike Carpenter. Mike doing a shift change for Jeremy Warner, who is at the State Farm Center right now getting ready as Valpo and Illinois. And by the way, if you have tickets for that game, the game time has been moved up. If you didn't know, it's a 6 o'clock start. So a 6 o'clock tip at the farm for Illinois and Valpo. It's round one of the NIT. And that game originally scheduled for 6:15, but now a 6 o'clock start on ESPN. Sean Harrington, who joined us at 3:30, ESPN college basketball analyst. And, of course, Sean played at Illinois. He is on the call tonight for that game. It is time to head back to the Jupiters to the Crossing phone line. We're going to welcome in from the Chicago Tribune, Shannon Ryan joining us again. Shannon, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Are you starting to think that maybe Jeremy Warner doesn't like you? Because when we have you on now, he leaves.
Well, did you ever think I'm picking the time to be on?
You know what?
No, I'm kidding.
Love that.
I like Jeremy a lot. I just had to flip it around a little bit.
I love how you flip that around. That's fantastic. Well, Shannon, I'll give you, I guess, we haven't heard your perspective yet for our listeners here on our airwaves with regards to the news Saturday. Josh Whitman, came on and excused, of course, John Gross as the Illini basketball coach. What were your thoughts Saturday when you heard that news?
Yeah, I mean, not a shocker. I don't think anyone was totally surprised. I mean, I think there were a lot of reasons to make that move, not too many to keep him, really, just if you look at it fairly and, objectively. So, I think Whitman has come into Illinois and proven so far, he's not a status quo guy. He wants to get things done and shape up the programs and raise the bar. So, based on what he did with football, it's not surprising to see him make that move then in basketball and say this isn't good enough for Illinois basketball. And then to do that again today with the women's basketball program, not surprised. I think he really wants to raise the bar there.
I agree. And I think the last thing I'll ask you is, we are going to ask you more than just one.
This is going to be a 4-minute interview, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Just 1 minute, one question with Shannon, and we're letting her go. The fact how Josh Whitman came in, his press conference that day was unbelievable. Isn't it amazing how he can absolutely earn the trust of every Illinois fan?
Yeah, you know what? I was just thinking about that, actually, because it's like Illinois fans, I mean, I have to say, I hear from them a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But, no, but I think, and fairly, they want their programs to be succeeding, but there's been a lot of frustration, and even when new coaches were hired, like with Gross or with when Beckman was hired, when Mike Thomas, it was just kind of this like, let's see, okay.
Right.
But with Whitman, it's like whatever he says, it's like, yep, we're going to follow that and believe that. I mean, people really believe in him. So, yes. That's a good thing. People are excited. I think, they saw what bringing in Lovie Smith, that people really seem to approve of that and think, okay, Whitman's, being a go-getter and trying to raise the bar, like I said before. But, yeah, I haven't seen, like I'm saying, I guess is my point, is I haven't seen Illinois fans as supportive of anybody at Illinois, like in my shorter time here, I admit. But, as much as this athletic director, like they're bigger fans. I guess, Lovie, people were hyped about. But,
sure.
Before that, I haven't seen anybody as hyped before Lovey and before Whitman as anybody in recent years, really, at Illinois.
Yeah, if there was a Q rating for Josh Whitman right now, it'd be through the roof. And Lovey, because of, some losses on the field, and he's not the most engaging personality. And that's what makes Whitman kind of unique, I think, Shannon, is that, if you just listen to his voice, I think sometimes people might interpret that as he's kind of a drawl, sometimes robotic. But then occasionally, especially when asked questions off the cuff, he at least adds more of a human element than Mike Thomas, which I think makes him that much more relatable to most Illini fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, too, of course, he played there, and everybody, they believe he really cares about, and I think it's genuine, cares about the program and has a personal, investment in this. It's not just like so many athletic directors, and, I know he has some background, but, there's a lot that just come in purely from, like, a business side nowadays, and there's not so many that were former players or, former coaches. Not that he was, but, there's this tie to Illinois that makes it seem more of a genuine thing. And people like that. Now, I do want to say, everyone's really hyped, but he's got to make the right hires.
Yes,
he does. Getting rid of somebody is one thing, and saying, like, we're going to raise the bar high. But, I know Illinois fans believe that too. But, now you've got to deliver, because people felt the same way when Bruce Weber was fired and when Ron Zook was fired. People were really glad about that, actually. People thought, okay, we got to move in a new direction. And then the hires, maybe weren't the most exciting and obviously didn't turn out to be to bring Illinois a lot of success. So you've actually got to hit the home run now to live up to kind of the expectations that he set.
And easier said than done, certainly. But as you wrote in your article on Monday, and as a lot of people have, I don't want to say confirmed, but there's a lot of smoke around the amount of money that Illinois is willing to spend. And I would say money talks. I know it's not that simple, but even some of these big name coaches, and Tony Bennett would be one that came out today. He was making just north of $2 million at Virginia. And then you see these numbers that Illinois has to work with and think, well, maybe they can dream big. What would you say, and whether this be a gut reaction or just kind of a hunch, do you think Illinois, unlike 5 years ago, may actually be in play with some of the big names, unlike Shaka and Brad Stevens back in 2012?
Like you said, I mean, this is just kind of conjecture, I guess. But, I think what Whitman said at his press conference, and he's right. I mean, Illinois has done some things that would make it more of a lure now, because, the facilities upgrade and plans to keep upgrading. That's huge for a coach. There is always, this hasn't changed, but just the idea of where you can recruit. It's in a good area. There is some history there. It can be done. You can win there. But I think what he said, too, about finding the right fit, you don't want to necessarily get a coach just because he's a hot name and, has, a reputation. You've got to make sure he's a good fit. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Does it mean like that you should have ties to the area, that you should have, know about the Big Ten? What does that mean? I don't know. But, that's for him to decide, obviously. But you don't want to just get the name and have the buzz and not deliver either. But I think from, everything I've been hearing and reporting, that, people are stepping up and want to make it that they can be competitive and offer the right amount of money to get the coach they want. Because last time around, they did strike out on some big names who are very good coaches. And I don't think they can do that again. So I think you've got to deliver. And nowadays, obviously, money talks.
Yeah, so. I think Mike Thomas took a pass on the Illinois job, I think. He just kind of came in and hired three people that just didn't work out, obviously. Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune. Follow her on Twitter, @SRyanTribune. I stirred the hornet nest a little bit, Shannon, today with this. And I want to explain it, so I want to give you a little bit of a lead into why I explain this. Now, if Tony Bennett is announced as the head coach of Illinois tomorrow, I will be ecstatic. I will just be...
I'll be ecstatic because the coaching search will be over.
Well, right.
No more stress of, trying to recruit.
Shannon's like,
no
good.
Who it is. If it was tomorrow, I would do a cartwheel.
You're right. And she'd be like, I'd only have to come on a Tay and J Show one more time and talk to Carp and
No,
Tay.
I don't mind that.
Okay, I appreciate that. So here's what I said. I have for a long time thought this, and I hear from some of the former players at Illinois, and I've thought to myself, and the way I started this was saying this. When I go out to a local watering hole and have a few drinks with my buddies, I have made it clear to them that I want the next coach to be African American. And here's why. it seems like since Jimmy Collins, it seems like Illinois has done something wrong in the city of Chicago with regards to getting the top talent. I know there's Simeon, and that's been a fantastic relationship through the years. But sometimes I am told by former players, by former people that say that there is an issue. There's obviously something that's broken with regards to Illinois and Chicago. So my thought is, okay, Illinois never had an African-American coach. I want to see if an African-American coach would make that happen, would be able to make Chicago then look at Illinois and say, okay, now you're doing things right. Let's open the floodgates. Let's see if we can get the talent from Chicago, because if you get that talent, Shannon, you can win national titles, and not just one national title. You can win multiple. So my question to you would be on that. Is that something that should be an issue? And do you think an African-American coach could maybe make headway in the city that you report in?
Well, I mean, I think, let me think how to put this. I look at where you're talking about African-American players out of Chicago.
Right.
Go play. They go play for Coach K. They go play for Cal. They go play for Coach Izzo. They have not had any issue coming to Chicago and getting the best recruits. Those are all white coaches. That said, I mean, I think Marcus Fuller at the in Minnesota, really good reporter, had a story about just the Big Ten in general.
Sure.
Their last black head coach was Tubby Smith 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a national issue, just as far as if you're just talking about diversity in coaching, where you have a sport that's largely almost, a majority African American, but then don't become coaches, and the coaches are mostly white, and it's trending even more that way.
Absolutely.
That's a bigger issue. So I think, like any job in America, you should open it up to people and have a diverse pool of candidates and give people a chance who maybe, are top assistants and see what they're about, because sometimes people get shut out just because of the process of things. But I think, it might be considered a little insulting to think like these players would only come there for a black coach.
Okay.
They're going to go where they can win, and they want to win just like anybody else. And if the program is good and the coach is good, that's, I think, what matters to players. Because look at those names. These coaches, Chicago, there's, coaches that just like set up shop in Chicago and just recruit the heck out of Chicago. And for programs that have, that have white coaches aren't very successful. So, I don't think like it should be overstated for that reason. I think maybe just the idea of like presenting opportunity people, that is an issue that should be addressed.
That's fair enough. And I know Illinois wanted a high level, and they did that with Kruger. They did that with Bill Self. Lou Henson, of course, did that. And Bruce Weber as well. But then it seemed like the Derrick Roses and some of those guys, even though the wins were there, and obviously it takes a while to get to the Calipari, to get to the Krzyzewski level and the Izzo level. And even Izzo has had his issues with Chicago. But it's just that. It's almost like, again, I would be fine with Tony Bennett being the next head coach here. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that would totally prove it, but it just seems like I'd love to put the onus back on that city and say, all right, what is Illinois doing wrong? Like, why won't the big names come here? Because if you did, I think you could win at a high level. We've seen it happen.
I mean, I think this comes up like every year, but recruiting's changed. It's not like, guys are limited in region anymore. Guys go nationally. Sometimes guys want to go far away from home, and now exposure through AAU TV, they see everything. Coaches from all over the nation are coming in to recruit, so it's a totally different game with recruiting, of course. But that said, Illinois should be getting at least some of the top players out of Chicago. I'm not saying like every single player is going to be like signing immediately and it's an automatic thing, but you should be in more competition and getting some of these good ones, and that comes. It's a chicken and egg, I guess. It is argument because what comes first? Do you come there because they win, or do you get the recruits? But that's kind of got to be a thing that you've got to start getting some of these guys, because that's part of what makes Illinois a good job potentially is that you have these fertile recruiting grounds around you.
And let me apologize for putting you on the spot with those questions. That wasn't fair to you, and Shannon, as a professional, handled it perfectly.
Oh, no, I can take any question. I mean, my job is to put people on the spot sometimes. So, I don't mind. I mean, I think that they're all really great questions that should be addressed.
Sure.
So, I appreciate it.
Shannon, if you were to kind of play the role of Kreskin here or Nostradamus and use your crystal ball? I don't need a name necessarily, but I guess if there is a name out there that you think would be equal parts attainable, fit, home run higher, is there one name that you kind of keep coming back to and say, this guy would probably be a great fit for what Illinois is looking for?
Oh, gosh, it's hard because, I keep, I'm thinking about this a lot, obviously, and that money component is really big. That's come up, and just the amount Illinois is willing to put up for a coach, because that will lure a guy away from a program. If you get a raise, you can coach in the Big Ten, maybe, like the Greg Marshalls and Archie Miller names. Those are really intriguing because, I don't know if they necessarily would take it, but the money surely helps. Just what's happened, at Wichita State, they're still not getting respect, from the selections. It's crazy. There's, I know how they do it, but still, it's like that might, could that be a tipping point? Like, hey, I've had it and I want to come into, where I win, I get the recruits and, then I get actually rewarded for it. But, he's got a good thing going there too. So it's hard to say. And then, I think the Cosno Martin's name, I don't think it's as big as a splash necessarily, but I do think, and people might say, okay, he's, been in the NIT, big deal, but he would have more resources at Illinois, and he's gotten really good recruits. Charlie Moore, hello, he's been able to come into Chicago and get guys. So, I think that actually should be kind of enticing. I know it's not going to be like the big headline name maybe after some of these other names have been tossed around, but I actually think he'd be a solid hire.
There are a lot of good candidates out there. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And Shannon Ryan wants it to be done like it's 6 o'clock tonight. Get this thing done. Now, we like it, Shannon, because it gives us something to talk about every day, right?
Yeah.
We're in the opposite.
From it.
Exactly. We're in opposite corners of this. Well, Shannon, I appreciate you taking the time. We do have a game tonight. Illinois and Valpo, of course, round 1 of the NIT. So enjoy that. Chicago Tribune. Follow Shannon on Twitter. Excellent follow on Twitter. Please read her stuff. She is one of the best. It's at S. Ryan Tribune. Shannon, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
We appreciate it. Good stuff with Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune, who always gets you and I.
Yeah,
I think she's avoiding Warner.
You're gone next Wednesday, right? There's some fish fry?
Yeah,
Is that what it is? Is it not a fish fry?
It is. It's a Jonah fish fry down in Villa Grove. It's our chamber in Villa Grove.
This sun is scorching me right now.
That was just so funny the way you said that. So you're gone next Wednesday. What, some fish fry or something?
I'm just thinking maybe we'll have Shannon on next Wednesday. And then
hick.
Me and Jerry can take care of it.
There you go.
Let's see here. You got to dip over to the State Farm Center and get your tickets.
I do. Are you going to let me sneak out?
Yeah. We'll finish the show off.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going too, but...
It's okay. If I miss a media timeout, whatever.
Right.
I already got my reserved 100 level ticket.
Look at you.
Yeah.
See, you make a little bit more than me. I'm just going to go buy a general admission.
So no one can ever question my loyalty as a fan. I'm going to the opening round NIT game.
I'm excited. You and I are both excited to do this. All right. Listen, it's been a great show. Sean Harrington was awesome at 3:30. You definitely want to podcast that. And Dan Moeller at 4:05. Stephen Barta was excellent at 4:30. And then, of course, Shannon Ryan always does a fantastic job. I've brought up some other issues today, and I hope it doesn't cause too much of an issue out there.
Well, today we talked about race. Tomorrow we'll have a big discussion about gender.
Yes.
What do you say?
Gender, and then Friday, politics all day.
Politics all day.
I will bring my A game Friday with politics.
Okay, I like it.
That'll really make heads spin.
I think that's a fantastic way to close off the week. And then hopefully next week we can talk about a new Illinois coach.
Please.
But it is nice to be in this position where there's optimism more than there is skepticism.
Amen. Isn't that the truth? All right, we will see. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Carp's going to finish it off. Good luck, Illini. Why not? It's the Tay and J Show.
Hi, it's Van again from Heel to Toe Shoes in downtown Urbana. Well, yeah, it's that time you've all been waiting for. It's our spring preferred customer sale now through March 18th. Yep, you save on everything. Every shoe in the store, all the socks, all the inserts. Come on in. You can save store-wide. We only do it for a short time, so this is your chance. Get a jump on your spring shopping. All the new items are rolling in daily. 10 to 20% off store-wide. Heel to Toe Shoes, 106 West Main, downtown Urbana.
There's nothing better than real Texas barbecue, and no better place to get it than Hickory River Smokehouse. Every cut of beef brisket, pork shoulder, turkey breast, pork loin, and chicken are carefully selected and rubbed with its signature spice blend, infused with hickory smoke for a juicy award-winning flavor, and served up right here in Central Illinois for over 20 years. How about a taste as big as Texas for lunch, dinner, your next get-together, or to watch the big game? You're guaranteed to be the fan favorite. HickoryRiver.com or on North Cunningham in Urbana.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company. And if you've thought about replacing those drafty windows and doors, call us right now. Take advantage of 30% off our windows and 30% off our doors. These are the vinyl windows that tilt in for cleaning and never need storm windows. Also, our beautiful Paragon doors come pre-painted and have deadbolt locks built right into them. So if you've thought about replacing your windows and doors, call us to take advantage of 30% off plus 0% financing.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Duracon from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans, and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Congratulations to Brian Tyson, our law enforcement official of the month, brought to you by F.E. Moran Security Solutions. Have respect for law and order.
I think you probably hit it on the head with teaching our kids. I do a lot of work with the college kids on campus. I mean, that's my population. Those are, 18 to 24 to 30 years old are the people that I deal with. And the diametric change in the attitudes of young people towards any sort of authority. I mean, and that's kind of a natural progression. But I listened to a gentleman speak, and he made a very good point. He said, everybody of our age complains about kids and the way they act and the way they are. And he said, kids are the same as they've always been. It's the parents that are different. And that really is the truth. I mean, you start teaching your children when they're young, what is respect? How many times do I go and I see somebody with a little kid point at me in uniform and say, oh, behave or he's going to take you to jail, which I automatically say, no, I won't take you to jail. You should be telling your kids if there's a problem, go find a police officer, go find somebody in uniform, not making them scared.
They're there to help.
Yes.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante and Jeremy Werner with the crew. Tyler Knight.
What's up?
Harry Black. Hi. Daniel King.
How you doing, everybody?
Thanks for joining me, guys, and help me wrap up the show. We only got a few minutes here because we're out a little bit early. I, too, have to get over to the State Farm Center for some NIT action, which I am mildly excited for. Real quick, game picks, or actually not game picks, because I think we would all agree Illinois should win tonight.
Correct.
Peters out for Valpo, so that helps. So, if Illinois makes it to Madison Square Garden, yes or no, is that reason for excitement long-term, yes or no, Tyler?
I say no. I mean, you're losing quite a bit here at this class, so I think the reason why they would make it would be the seniors just trying to make that last effort in their last games, but I don't think that should really get you that much more excited.
Harry?
It's a consolation prize, really, at that point. It's if you're a program that isn't used to success like Illinois should be, then this is an exciting time of the year, I suppose. But we're not supposed to be in the NIT. We're supposed to be in March Madness, the NCAA tournament. That's supposed to be where Illinois is.
So you, I take it, are not going to the game tonight?
I am not going to the game tonight.
Daniel?
I actually happen to be in a different boat than everybody else, I think.
You're pumped?
And I'm pumped.
Wow, okay.
You know what? I just like Illinois basketball. I like watching Malcolm play, and I think if they were able to win this whole thing, that would mean a lot to me as a fan, that they still cared enough to go out and show up in the NIT since we accepted the bid.
I think there's something to it also that with John Gross not coaching, and this is no slight against him because onward and upward, right? I mean, we're moving forward. But there is a different kind of energy. I don't know if that's the right word. There might be 6,000 people there tonight for all I know. But because he's not coaching, there is no pressure. I sometimes talk about the pressure on the fan, feeling like this entire season, every game meant something as far as the long-term
impact on Illinois basketball. But now it feels like I can just go and enjoy a game, maybe 2 games if they get past Valpo here. So if Illinois makes it all the way to the 3rd round and they have to go to Normal and play ISU, do they win?
No, I do not see them winning that game.
Harry?
I think at the end of the day, you have to look at the fact that we are still a Big Ten team, and they are still a anything but Power 5 conference team. So if we get that far, that means we'll have beaten Valpo and most likely Utah.
Yeah.
At that point, we're not going to then lose to a Missouri Valley team in Illinois State, even if this is their bracket.
Also talking about a team that lost at Rutgers at the end of the Big Ten season.
Well, I mean, Rutgers. Yeah, no, actually, there's no excuse for that. Daniel, what do you think?
I mean, it scares me, but I think we get them, and I want to get them because I want to be the best team in Illinois as the state school. I don't want to lose to a Illinois State.
And head-to-head, I guess we do have the 2 wins against Northwestern, so we could claim that. And that's the other kind of cruel fate of this whole season is that even though we beat Northwestern twice, and that's fine, that's all well and good, they're in the tournament. They have the selection show party at Welsh Ryan Arena. We watched the 7:30 ESPN UNIT bracket unveiling where even the announcers were kind of making fun of the whole process. But whatever. I mean, this is hopefully the last time Illinois makes the NIT for a while. Tough to say with next year. A lot of young pieces that they're bringing in. But this has been an exciting day based on the rumor mill. But from reporters and sources we trust, that makes you think this may be very different than 5 years ago. So if we're sitting here today, guys, and you can only make one pick, gut feeling, who the next Illinois coach is, and if you're right, we can replay it on the Tay and J Show after the hire. If you're wrong, we will bury it and no one will know. Who's the next coach?
My guy is Kevin Keats.
Keats?
I got to go with Kevin Keats.
Okay, Harry.
You know me, I'm not really huge on college basketball, but is Kevin Keats, that's the guy from
Wilmington.
Wilmington? Yeah. Okay, that's who I was going to say too.
Wow.
I think this is an interesting week. We have UNC Wilmington versus Virginia. And in all likelihood, or not likelihood, in my own opinion, I think that it doesn't really matter who the winner of that game is. I think our next coach could come from one of those 2 teams.
Okay. Yep. Daniel, who's the coach?
Well, I didn't even know that Tony Bennett was an option until I heard the guys
Dream
talking
big,
about
man.
it. And
Dream big.
You know what? He's my guy.
Yeah,
if we can get
guy
Tony
too.
Bennett, that's a dream come true. And you know what? He's taking Virginia as far as he can take them. Let's see how far we can take Illinois.
My prediction, Tony Bennett ultimately re-ups for 3.5 at Virginia. We get Bryce Drew. I say we. I'm back on the Illinois basketball bandwagon. Not that I was ever off of it, but I would be happy with Bryce Drew. I'd be happy with Tony Bennett. I think Kevin Keats is all too often forgot just because it's UNC Wilmington instead of a bigger school. All right, guys, we only got about 15 seconds here. Where's the music? There we go. Thank you to Sean Harrington, Dan Moeller, Stephen Bardo, Shannon Ryan, for Jeremy Warner, Lante, Tyler Knight, Harry Black, Daniel King, Mike Carpenter here. It is the Tay and J Show.
Baseball season is in full swing, and Game Day Spirit's got your apparel needs covered. Want to wear the same cap as the team? Game Day Spirit has it. Want to support our military and cheer on your favorite team in style? Game Day Spirit has a tee for that too. Celebrate spring with the official fan store of the Fighting Illini on 6th and Green in Campustown, 1422 South Neal Street, or visit online anytime at GameDaySpirit.com. And go Illini!
When an accident occurs, you want to ensure your car is being taken care of by the best of the best. According to industry statistics, Tim's Auto Body is among the top 10% of collision repair businesses in the country. Major car brands have been quoted as saying that they're in an elite league as best in class when it comes to a business operation. Tim's Auto Body has been recognized nationally for their consistent high level of service and meeting customers' needs. With the complexity of today's vehicles, obtaining a certified collision center from some of the top manufacturers ensures Tim's Auto Body is up to date on all of the industry standards, as well as keeping their staff educated on all of the changes in the vehicle industry. Tim's Auto Body in Champaign. Why trust the safety of your vehicle with anyone else? Visit Tim's Auto Body at 701 North Madison, Champaign, or call 607-0119. Go to timtapman.com for more details.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go! Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted bundles. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Everyone remembers this nursery rhyme. Rosati's thought about coming up with a rhyme for their spaghetti special this month, but they decided they didn't need a rhyme because this deal is big enough on its own. Don't miss this great carry-out special at Rosati's Pizza. It's their spaghetti special. Spaghetti, salad, and breadsticks for a family of 4 for just $29.95. Available for carry-out only on Tuesdays from 4 to 9 p.m. No time to cook? Too busy running errands to prepare dinner? Do it family style with Rosati's Pizza, 701 South Gregory, Urbana.
Join the Champaign Parks Foundation for a night of dancing, singing, and laughing to benefit Champaign Parks and Programs on Saturday night, April 1st at the City Center. Doors open at 7, with comedian Chris Schlichting taking the stage at 7:30, followed by Mike and Joe, one of the nation's most renowned rock cover bands who will get you moving to cover tunes from the 90s through today. Brought to you by Scotty's Brewhouse and Stevie J Broadcasting. Get your tickets for $10 or $20. Available now or at the door. ChampaignParks.com.
Check that out.
Is Bill doing the Money Man?
Yep. Bill just switched to Cricket Wireless, and he's really feeling this whole free phone thing. He got a free Samsung Galaxy M2 when he switched, on a plan that's only $30 a month.
Oh, is that
the Cha-Cha? Yeah.
Woo! Shake those hips, Bill!
Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about.
Limited time offer while supplies last. Requires number ported and activation of eligible service. Minimum $30 per month. First month service charge due with sale tax may apply. Fees and restrictions apply. Coverage not available everywhere. $30 per month plan. Not eligible for auto-pay credit or group safe discount.
Prairie Landscaping is continuing their 25th anniversary celebration by giving away a 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote, and you can get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. When you do, you'll be registered to win a 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes just in time for the Final Four. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.